dead. For Northern Illinois, it's really quite simple.
We got to beat Eastern Michigan next week, and then we got to become big Bowling Green fans. I'm not used to doing that, but I'm flexible enough I can do that.
Today, it's part one of the scenario. Ypsilanti, Michigan is the setting as the Huskies are locked and loaded, salivating at the thought of a big bowl of holiday cheer. It's the Huskies and Eagles next. The Northern Illinois Huskies are planning on this not being the final time they come out of a tunnel for a game this year. They're taking on Eastern Michigan today. A win, they still have a chance at getting to the MAC title game. A win also likely means they'll be going to a bowl game. Welcome to Ryerson Stadium, everybody, in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Jim Blaney along with the coach, Bob Kamel. And Bob, this is a game where, you know what, Northern, it's not just a big game for them in their season. It's not just a big game for the school overall. It's a huge game for the program.
Well, I don't think there's any question. This is a program game. Northern Illinois wins this football game, they will go to a bowl game. That's my feeling.
All right, let's talk about the quarterbacks in this one because they will be the main part of the story. If you've been following NIU football this year, Josh Haldi has been nothing but spectacular, but Matt Bonet from Eastern Michigan, he's going to sling this thing all over the field.
Matt Bonet is a transfer from Iowa. He's done a great job here. He is a young man from the state of Michigan. He can throw the football this way and that way. One of the things that he does, he gets them in the right play. Jeff Jenick has a very sophisticated offense that he brought here from Northwestern University. This young man can run that offense.
Now, obviously, if you're going to have quarterbacks being a big part of the story, you better have somebody out there catching the football. And two of the receivers you'll see a lot of in this game are pretty good ones. Dan Sheldon and Eric Delorier for Eastern Michigan. They are our spotlight matchup.
I don't think there's any question. These are two big timers. These two young guys can play football in any conference in the country, whether it's the Mid-American Conference, the Big Ten, I don't care where it's at. These are two talented men. They are both game breakers.
All right, one of the other important things for this game has to do with the Northern Illinois running game. Garrett Wolf did not play against Toledo. How much time will we see today? We'll give you that answer. We'll also have the opening kickoff when we return after this timeout. By Culver's Frozen Custard and Butter Burgers, America's favorites made fresh. By Casey's General Store, the official convenience store of NIU Athletics. Casey's, a convenience store and a whole lot more. By the Village Commons Bookstore, for all your Husky clothing and souvenirs, visit vcbs.com. Applebee's, try Applebee's Carside to Go. You call it in, we bring it out. Plains Farm and Fleet, the hardest working people in America find value at Farm and Fleet. By Jewel, helping make your life easier. By TCF Bank, open 7 days. And by the Comfort Inn and Suites of Rochelle, a great place to stay before or after Husky football games where you will sleep in comfort.
Welcome back to Ryerson Stadium, everybody, here on the campus of Eastern Michigan University. And a pretty decent day for this time of year in late November. Temperatures right about 55 degrees. 50% in the forecast, but so far the field drying out nicely, and we should have an excellent day of big news around DeKalb the last 11 days has been tailback Garrett Wolf. The diminutive one has been the big story. One of the reasons is that he missed that game against Toledo 11 weeks ago. Now, Wolf, of course, the story is pretty clear. He had an eye injury sustained in an off-the-field altercation. He is near 100% right now. However, he will not be starting. A.J. Harris gets the nod in that. He will be wearing protective shield on his face mask. The eye is very sensitive to light, so that is to protect that eye. Wolf very anxious to make amends for missing that game against Toledo, and the Huskies could use him, and they're hoping he provides a spark here today against the Eagles. Back to you, gentlemen.
All right, Brad, thank you very much, and we're just about set to get the game going. Eastern Michigan will receive to get us started, and Bob, as far as keys to the game are concerned, you know, I know coaches are always big on run the ball, stop the run, which, you know, you get to Northern Illinois, if you're going to beat these guys, you better keep them from running the football.
I don't think there's any question. It all begins right up front. Northern Illinois is one of the best coached offensive lines that I've seen in college football today. They're big, they're athletic, they're well coached, as I said, as far as technique goes. They have the ability to move a defensive front, and with A.J. Harris starting the game, I will tell you this, he's a good-sized back, 6'1", 222 pounds. He's a junior. Eastern Michigan has to come to play to stop the run.
Northern Illinois has had the better of the matchup in this series in recent history, winning 5 of the last 6. But let's just toss this number at you as well. In the last 6 times after Northern Illinois has lost to Toledo, 2-4. So Josh Haldi and his teammates have to get it back going in the right direction. One of the things they're going to have to fix is keep the offense on the field and keep the defense on the sidelines. Toledo had a number of long drives against Northern Illinois, and it's awfully hard to score points when your offense isn't on the field.
I don't think there's any question. Northern Illinois against Toledo, the pass rush just wasn't there, and that played heck on the secondary. Again, it starts up front defensively from Northern Illinois, too. If they can put some heat on Matt Bonet, they've got a great chance of going home with a victory today.
Chris Nendick, in spite of playing with a hernia, he will kick off to begin the game, and that might be one of the reasons why he has kicked it to one of the upbacks to get it started, and Eastern Michigan will start out 1st and 10 from their own 32-yard line. Anthony Gallagher may see some time place kicking today, and I have a funny feeling that after seeing that out of Nendick to start the game, that we may see Gallagher more often on kickoffs today. But the doctors have said he's okay to go ahead and play. He's not going to injure himself any further. It's one of those injuries, at least for the time being, where it's up to how much pain he can take and how long he can go. You get a look at the Eastern Michigan offense as they come out. Matt Bonet will get them lined up. You will see them throw the ball all over the place. They put up a lot of points, and they have a lot scored against them. 1st and 10 from their own 30 to get us started. Bonet, little play action to get us started. Up the sideline. He's looking for Delorier. He had to adjust to get the ball. He couldn't make the adjustment. Rob Lee with an interception to get things started for Northern Illinois, and now the Huskies set up the return. So one play, one turnover. Northern will get it 1st and 10 on their own 42 after the interception by Lee.
Rob Lee, great. You know, one of the things you want to tell a defensive back, when the ball is in the air, you're a wide receiver. And that's exactly what Rob did. He turned from being a defensive back into a wide receiver. He played the ball perfectly. I don't like that call by Jeff Jenick to open the game. This gives Northern Illinois immediately good field position.
Well, and you saw Eastern Michigan go to the air on the first play. We're going to see the other side now. You expect Northern Illinois to start grinding it out right away. They come out slot left to start with. Well, shows what I know. Haldi comes out. He's throwing under pressure, rolls to his right, goes up the right sideline, has a man open, complete. Down to the 30-yard line, so Northern Illinois will have a first down on their first play of the game as he tossed it out to one of Bob's favorite guys, Brad Cieslak, the tight end.
Brad Cieslak, probably my favorite player on this Northern Illinois team if I had to pick one. This young guy versus Central Florida was a John Mackey tight end of the week, tight end award winner of the week. But give some credit here to Josh Haldi. What great athleticism after the pressure. He's flush from the pocket, throws the ball downfield. Nice job by both of these young men.
Eastern Michigan not having these first 2 plays go in any way their direction. An interception and a long gain by Northern. 1st and 10 from the 30. Haldi stops, throws, has a completion out to the right. Chatone Powers making the catch. He'll be taken down at the 23-yard line. So Northern moving the ball up the field nicely to get the game going.
A little bit of a surprise here. Thought there'd be handoff.
Oh, boy.
2 passes right in a row. That out route there, that out route is a short out route that they ran. It can't be taken for granted. That football has to be thrown from the outside shoulder of Powers, and that's exactly where Haldi put the football.
Harris is the lone setback. Dan Sheldon lines up in the slot to the left of Josh Haldi. On 2nd down and 3. Sheldon goes in motion. He'll get the pitch out of the reverse. He has room out to the right side. Has a first down. He's over the 15. Finally forced out of bounds at the 13-yard line. Taken down by a pile of Eagles over there. Rontel Woodruff drives them out of bounds. We're going to have a chance to get a look at the starters now. We've been a lot of action here in the early going. All the ball handlers for Northern Illinois. And, of course, Cieslak had the big reception to get things going, and it doesn't happen without the big guys up front who Bob has told you are an athletic group, and these guys, especially Dan Acker, incredibly mobile, incredibly big, too. 1st and 10 for Northern from the 12. Little blitz look, and now Eastern backs out of it. First carry of the day for Harris. He goes to his left. He has all sorts of room if he can get around one man. He does inside the 10, down to the 5. He was driven out of bounds. Coming over to make the play for Eastern Michigan was their middle linebacker, Steve Bednarik, and there's a flag down on the play. Let's take a look at the defense for Eastern Michigan. The linebackers are the guys who have to be active. They have to get the job done. Of course, there needs to be some pressure coming from up front as well. They've got some pretty good size on the defensive line. Kudu goes at 278. You get back to the linebackers. Bednarik is the leading tackler in the MAC. And then back in the secondary, these are the guys that are really going to be under the gun today, because as you saw in the first play of the game, Northern Illinois believes that they can exploit the Eastern secondary in spite of the fact that predominantly Northern is a running team. So after the penalty, Northern backs up to the 18-yard line where it's first down and 16. Haldi, little play fake, looks in the end zone to the corner, incomplete. It was a little in and out route by Sam Hurd.
You know, once again, I think the athleticism of this offensive line for Northern Illinois. You know, 6'6", 290, 6'4", 310, 6'4", 287, 6'4", 302, 6'6", 305, and these guys run around like linebackers. I mean, they are something very special. You know, the offensive line coach Sam Pittman there just does a magnificent job.
So now second down and 16 from the 18. Sheldon's out in the slot to the right, and we have all sorts of flags going down. So we saw a close-up of Josh Haldi a second ago. Let's get the call from the official. This is the thing that Joe Novak cannot have. His offense has come out very hot to start the game, and now they've got it stuck in reverse, Bob.
Well, you know, penalties. I mean, you come out the way they came out, moving the ball downfield the way they did. These penalties hurt. They hurt physically and they hurt mentally. You start to get a little bit of a doubt. You know, something like, are we jumping offside? What are we doing here? And then from an offensive coordinator standpoint, you get a little nervous about what you're going to call.
Second and 21. Haldi looking right for Sheldon. The end zone has him open. Out of bounds. Sheldon came down with the ball, but he was out of bounds.
You know, play action passes. You know, Northern hasn't established a running game here yet, but they have the threat of the running game. And then that's why play action passes work. Good throw to the outside. He is out of bounds right there by about half the size of his foot.
By a big toe, as it were.
I'd like to see right now, you know, I know it's third down. We could see a draw play here, screen, a little bit of a screen, maybe just a little hitch to the outside, move the ball downfield, put some points on the board.
And with the questions in the kicking game for Northern Illinois, you wonder if they don't at least have to get a few yards closer to even try a field goal. Haldi steps up into the pocket. He has room. He gets away inside the 20, and then he is absolutely smacked by Kevon Barbee, knocked down at the 19-yard line.
That's what I said right there. You know, in that situation, I want to dump the ball off to the side a little bit. I want to get the ball more toward the center field in case we are going to attempt a field goal. But I want to see a little bit of something there to advance the football as opposed to trying to throw it in the end zone immediately.
Nendick in to try a 37-yarder. Kick is up, has plenty of distance to it, and it is good. So even though it's 3 points on the opening drive for Northern Illinois, you would almost have to say a little bit disappointing, because they had the ball certainly in plus territory, but they do get on the board first. So the Huskies strike first. They lead 3-0 over Eastern Michigan.
When you think about the most important moments in your life, what were you wearing?
Hard line. Northern having it pretty well covered. Return out to the 25-yard line. Finally, the reinforcements come in, and that's where Eastern Michigan will start their second series on offense.
Critical in this series for Northern Illinois to get some heat on the quarterback. I don't think there's any question. You know, they struggled a little bit last week. Matt Bonet is this young guy. He started his career in the Big Ten at Iowa. He was recruited to the Big Ten for a reason. He's an outstanding quarterback, 6'2½", 230 pounds. They've got to get after him a little bit.
Threw an interception on the only play from scrimmage for the offense for Eastern Michigan in the game. 1st and 10 from the Eastern 26-yard line. Bonet looks to his left, comes up throwing, and that will be incomplete. They go into the linebackers for Northern Illinois and come up empty. Here's a look at our backs and receivers for Eastern Michigan. Eric Delorier from Gatineau, Canada. He's actually a quarterback in high school, came here and played wide receiver. The offensive line with Mike Romelli, and I'll throw this in now, a graduate of Marian Catholic High School in Chicago Heights, one of my favorite places in the world. 2nd down and 10 from the 26. 4 wide receivers in for Eastern Michigan. Instead, Bonet is going to go to the ground game. Hands off. This is Bennett up the middle. Check this, Anthony Sherrill, who had a big season a year ago but has not gotten the amount of carries that he got 1 year ago. He'll take it all the way down to the northern 41-yard line, so a big gain for Eastern Michigan, 1st and 10 in Northern Territory.
Well, what we see here is a draw play. You know, they are such a passing threat that we see the linebackers just running out immediately on the threat of a pass. Hand off to Anthony Sherrill. Great execution on the draw play. That play continues to be successful here and there. You might want to take one of those defensive linemen and do a little bit of spying on Mr. Sherrill.
Slot right this time, and you know, he had a good carry the first time. Give it to him again, and Sherrill this time is going to pick up about 4 yards down to the northern 37-yard line.
Well, you know, one of the things from the shotgun, and when coaches started going to that at the collegiate level, you worried about misdirection. Right there, that was a little bit of a misdirection. Sherrill started one way and came back the other way. It doesn't have the same pull on the defense as it would if it were the quarterback would be under center. But albeit with this offense, that's a well-executed play for Eastern Michigan.
3 receivers out to the right as Eastern Michigan will try and put pressure on the northern corners on 2nd down and 6. And again, Sherrill gets the handoff. He goes left. He was hit at about the 32-yard line, pushed the pile forward, but he's going to be marked short of the 1st down. 3rd down and 1, and now, Bob, we're going to see one of the things that Northern has to fix from the Toledo game last week, and that is be able to get off the field on 3rd down.
Well, not only be able to get off the field, but establish something up front right now. Get off the field, exactly. I don't think there's any question, but establish something up front. They're getting pushed around a little bit right now by the Eastern Michigan offensive line, and frankly, that surprises me.
And it does not look like Sherrill made it. Northern had to get lined up quickly because Eastern Michigan was going on a quick count in the hurry-up, and it was a strange-looking handoff. Brian Atkinson, who of course has been playing with a broken jaw, came up and made the stop.
You know, one of the things I think offenses have kind of gotten away from it, fundamental to the fact that, you know, one of the things you have on your side is the start count. You must use that as a form of deception. You know, right there we see defensive linemen from Northern Illinois getting pad under pad, and that's leverage.
Well, it's a 1st down by about half of the length of the football. And a strange thing, even though it's getting brighter out here, the umbrellas are popping out, so the rain starts to fall. Joe Novak cannot be happy about his defense right now.
No. Up front, when I talk about pad under pad, you know, it's similar to like what moves that people use in wrestling. You know, you got to get pad under pad. That's leverage, and then keep the legs moving. That's what Northern Illinois has failed to do last week against Toledo. They played a little bit too high up front and got pushed around a little.
So 1st and 10 for Eastern Michigan from the northern 31-yard line. And they stay on the ground. Sherrill got about a yard, and he was popped right in the middle of the formation. So he gains about a yard. He'll bring up 2nd down and 9.
You know, as we see this play start to develop, Matt Bonet hands the football off, and then he goes into a good fake, which is basically an option series that they can run off of this. Now watch him. Hands the football off. Now if he detaches that football and comes outside with it, you know, you've got it into the option phase. And that's part of the series that Matt Bonet and Jeff Jenick have put together here at Eastern Michigan.
5 receivers into the game right now for Eastern Michigan on 2nd down and 9. Bonet stops, throws, has a completion, and has positive yardage. He throws it out to the right side of the formation to Tremaine Riley. And Riley will be close to another Eastern Michigan 1st down, and you're seeing classic of what the Eagles do. They just put so much pressure on your secondary by putting so many people out there. It makes it hard to cover a ball.
Well, when they spread the field the way they do, that negates the strength of Northern Illinois' front. People spread all over the field. Now you get into man-to-man situations, and then you look for that matchup, and that's exactly what Bonet did there. He had a matchup that he knew he could be successful with. Also, one of the things I've talked about time and again, tackling is a dying art. 2 missed tackles on that play. You got to come up and make that tackle. You have to make that play. Keep the football inside and in front of the defense.
So Bonet in the backfield along with Sherrill, and we get an official's timeout, and it is timeout for Eastern Michigan. This is a big play for them because on 3rd down and 1, if they keep the chains moving, then fine, but they also happen to have one of the best kickers in the game standing over on their sideline. Now, for keys to the game, as you see these, you're going to be wondering if Bob and I know what we're talking about because it's kind of backwards from what we thought. But first of all, for Northern Illinois, they have to stop the pass in spite of the fact that they've been getting kind of chewed up by Eastern running the football.
Well, that's not surprising. You know, as a coach, when you go into preparation, I mean, you've got all kinds of tendencies that you're dealing with, and then when the game starts, the tendencies can go out the window because now you're in that chess game. Why isn't Northern running the ball? Why isn't Eastern throwing the football just a little bit more?
And then on the flip side, you would say, okay, so what you want to do if you're Eastern Michigan is stop Northern's running game, but Northern's biggest play on offense so far has been a pass. So both coaches have turned the tables on the other guy a little bit.
Well, you know, this is like the first round of a heavyweight fight. They get out there, they spar a little, look a little this way, look a little that way, but when it comes right down to it, you go to the things that you do well. We'll see Northern running the football more so than they did in the first series, and we'll see Eastern Michigan, bang, bang, bang. They'll be throwing the football all over the field.
Now we get an I formation look from Eastern Michigan with no wide receivers in the game on 3rd down and 1. So Jeff Jenick going deep into the playbook. Sherrill is the I back. He'll get the handoff. Left side, and you talk about a hit. Whenever you see the helmet go flying on the hit, you know it was a big one, but the bottom line is this: 1st down, Eastern Michigan.
Well, you know, we see that helmet fly off. You know, there's some guys that are tacklers, and there are other guys that are strikers. What you saw there was a strike. But let's go back to the play. 3 tight ends in there. 3 tight ends for Eastern. Where do they even find 3 tight ends? And a fullback, and it's a lead play. It's an old fundamental isolation play. Nice job by the lead back on that particular play. An isolation play from Eastern Michigan. Whew.
They are moving the ball, and they're moving it in a variety of ways. Now they bring the receivers back in. Sherrill lines up a bit on the wing, and Bonet looks over to the sideline, gets exactly the call. Shotgun formation. Back to pass. Throws it up in the end zone. Delorier back there, double covered. Had it in his hands for a moment, but he had Rob Lee and Ray Smith right with him.
Very interesting throw by Bonet here because he did throw it into double coverage, but the ball could have been caught. This guy has not only a strong arm, he has great touch. There was one place where this football could have been thrown, and Matt Bonet put it in that place. That wide receiver should come down with that football.
That was a great throw by Bonet, and remember, he is playing with a little bit of a nicked up ankle, so if Northern can get some pressure on him, make him move around a little bit, certainly aid their cause a little bit. Brings up 2nd down. 2nd and 10 from the 18. 3 receivers out to the right this time. Bonet looking right, running out of time, steps over the middle, has his man, touchdown, Eastern Michigan. He had Trumaine Riley running all by himself right down the middle of the field. Eastern Michigan leads 6-3.
Right there, what we see is no pressure on the quarterback. He could have run that ball into the end zone. The other thing with the free safety over the top, he has to come and meet that football at the intersection point. He hung a little bit too long on the young man, and consequently, he came across his face. Denny Dornbos is going to have to get this defense off to the side, and there's going to be a lot of talking to do. They've got a lot of things they have to fix before they come out for their next series defensively.
Andrew Wellock, a finalist for the Lou Groza Award for this year, in to attempt the extra point. One of the top kickers in the country, and makes it look relatively easy. So Eastern Michigan, after being picked off and turning it over on their first possession, they move down the field on Northern Illinois. 7-3. Eastern Michigan leads Northern.
Hey, Carl.
Hey.
This game has started out very much like last year's season finale did against these two teams. The Huskies had an early interception. They were able to get points on the board, but Eastern Michigan came right back, mostly due to the fact of the running of Anthony Sherrill. He did it again on this season's, or this second drive of the game. Sherrill with a couple of nice carries, and he's got Eastern Michigan rolling here.
All right, Brad, thank you very much. Lionel Hickenbottom and Marcus Perez back to receive the kick for Northern. That kick is not even going to come close to staying in bounds.
That's one of the things. You know, you coach football, you coach offensive linemen, you coach defensive linemen. The kickers are coming off the field after practice. Look, you guys do one thing at practice. Keep the ball on the field. The field is almost 60 yards wide. I don't understand it. I was a little nervous there. I thought perhaps Northern Illinois should have fair caught that kickoff.
And then try an extra point or a field goal? A free kick on a field goal?
Where's Paul Hornig?
I've never seen, I want to see that in a game just one time, where a team fair catches the kickoff and then comes in with a free kick.
You're too young to remember that. You are way too young to remember that.
No one does it anymore. No one even quick kicks anymore either. 1st and 10 for Northern from the 35.
Little coffin corner kick, a directional kick.
Yeah. And the pitch this time is going to go out the left side of the formation as Garrett Wolf gets into the game for the first time and also gets his first carry. He'll pick up 2 yards out to the 37-yard line. He was taken down by Rontel Woodruff before Wolf could get around the corner.
Well, I like to see Garrett Wolf early on as he comes into the game establish a run a little bit between the tackles or taking a fundamental handoff. That right there was, again, something similar to what Eastern Michigan does, kind of the first phase of where a quarterback may detach or fake the pitch and take the football in the other direction. I'd like to see a little bit more of an establishment here by Northern Illinois up front and then go to a little bit of that chicanery.
Northern Illinois is going to have to hustle up here to get this play off as the play clock down to 4 seconds. Haldi rolls. He's wide open in himself, had no blocking out there, completes the pass to Cieslak, and he's over the 40-yard line to about the 41. So a bit of a naked bootleg rollout for Josh Haldi. He had room, and Bednarik makes the tackle.
Well, Brad Cieslak, as I said before, this guy's so much fun to watch. I coach the tight ends at Notre Dame, and it's a great position to coach, and it's a great position to watch guys succeed at. As I mentioned before, this guy's won a John Mackey Award for the tight end of the week versus Central Florida. On that particular play right there, that was just an old-fashioned boot pass. They used Garrett as a decoy, then come out, and it was a naked boot. No offensive lineman coming out there with Haldi.
Powers is out to the left, and timeout called by Josh Haldi is, second time. Northern came out a little slowly on the previous play, and the offense will now go over for a little confab over on the sidelines.
I'll tell you one thing, Joe Novak will be doing some serious talking over here and getting these guys going. I hate to use this term because it would never describe a Joe Novak type team. Right now, Northern Illinois is a little bit flat.
Let's take a look at the standings in the MAC West, and let's go through this again, because if Northern Illinois wins, then they have to get a little bit of help. They have to rely on Bowling Green to beat Toledo, which essentially will leave Bowling Green and Northern Illinois tied, which gives the MAC West title to Northern Illinois. If Toledo goes ahead and beats Bowling Green on Tuesday night, no matter what happens here, it's Toledo. So Northern Illinois has to take care of their business here, then gather around the tube on Tuesday night and wait and see what happens. And I asked Joe Novak earlier in the week, is it actually better that Bowling Green is not playing today, that you don't have guys, because you know guys on the sideline, what's going on with Bowling Green? And he said, yeah. He goes, it's nice that we can just come out and play and be totally focused, because in spite of what coaches like to say about their young men, you know the way it runs, and they're always got split attention sometimes.
Well, not only the coaches, but there's guys up in the booth. They're running back and forth, trying to send some guy. Hey, what's the Bowling Green score? What's the Bowling Green score? This way, it takes that distraction away from them. They have that total focus on winning this football game and let the cards fall where they may.
3rd down and 4 from the 41. Sheldon is out to the right. Haldi on the draw, gives to Garrett Wolf. He has room, he has a first down. It'll be taken down just before he gets to midfield. He was taken down by Tyler Griffin.
What made that play go? Garrett Wolf, great runner. I don't take anything away from him. Jake Verstrati, when this guy pulls at 6'6", 305 pounds, watch his athleticism, bammo! He cuts the corner, and it's hard for a big guy to block in space. When it's tight and there's not a lot of room and you're wrestling with the guy in front of you, that's one thing. But when you pull and you have to block in space, that showed me an awful lot about this young guy's athleticism.
1st and 10, just shy of the midfield stripe for Northern Illinois. As they move the chains for the first time, or for the second time in this game, first time via the run, and Wolf has all sorts of room to the right side. He's down the sideline. He had one man to beat, but he didn't have the angle on Jerry Gaines, who was able to force him out of bounds, but not until Wolf goes all the way up to the Eastern Michigan 38-yard line. Another Northern Illinois first down.
How about it? Yo, Eastern Michigan, we said it before the game, you're going to have to stop the run. Wolf is in here. This is a stretch play. We've got people pulling. We've got a fine block by 2 wide receivers out there, and we get the football to the outside. This is what Garrett Wolf does best, and he does it best because those big guys up front have the ability to make those cutoff blocks.
Now Northern Illinois has the game going in their direction. Haldi quick drop throws. It was tipped at the line of scrimmage. What a great catch by Cieslak. It's only going to be a gain of about 2 feet, but what a catch as the ball was tumbling end over end after the deflection.
This guy continues to surprise me. That's a great presence when a receiver, actually the tight end in this case, who is a receiver, when he sees the ball tip and has the ability to adjust to that football, it shows you something about the way he has been coached. You catch a you don't catch a football with your hands. You catch a football with your eyes, with the concentration and the focus.
I caught a football with my eyes one time, but I didn't get my hands up in time. That's why I caught it there.
That explains something I'm looking at right now.
2nd down and 9. Garrett Wolf up the middle, picks his hole, scoots it outside, gets a block, goes to the seam, all the way down to the 22-yard line. Another first down for Northern Illinois, and that was just a matter of Garrett Wolf being patient and then scooting through that seam.
You know, one of the things when you see, the running back gets just a little bit caught up and then he breaks it. So why did this play go? For two reasons. Cutback. Eastern Michigan linebackers flying out of there. Wolf recognizing that and bringing the ball back. But wide receivers for Northern Illinois, Hurd and Powers, these guys go downfield and block, and that's what gives you that extra 5, 6, 7, 8 yards or takes the ball to the end zone. Complete wide receivers.
On 1st and 10 from the Eastern Michigan 22-yard line. Garrett Wolf up the middle and was caught from behind and tripped up. It was Matt Kudu grabbing his foot from behind and tripping him up after a gain of 2.
Well, Doug Free and Lewick on that left side of the line, they call a little bit of a stunt there. And, you know, with the zone blocking combinations that they have, as they see more of these stunts as the game goes on, they'll be able to make adjustments. Good job by the defensive front there from Eastern Michigan with that little game that they had.
And now that Garrett Wolf is starting to get it going in the ground game, it will make play action that much more effective if and when Northern decides to go to it. On 2nd down and 8 from the 20, here's Wolf again. Cuts it back to the right. Couldn't get past the line of scrimmage. Everybody was just plugged up there in the middle. He tried to scoot it to the outside. Did pick up a couple of yards. It'll bring up 3rd down.
One of the things you talk to running backs about all the time is pad level. Pad level. You got to sell your pads. You got to get your pads down. Pad level. And the second thing, keep your legs moving. And that's what Garrett Wolf does here. Look at those legs. Look at that pad level. Look at that lean. Nice job. And he's got that new Tiki Barber way of holding the football, which is a bit unconventional, but it works.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't pop out. Sheldon is in the slot to the left on 3rd down. Haldi will roll to his left. Looking, he has nobody open. He's in trouble. His linemen are going to lay on some big blocks. Throws it into the end zone. Has a man open. In and out of the hands of Garrett Wolf in the back of the end zone. The amazing thing about this play is when Haldi turned around and started running toward the far sideline, is watching all those big linemen come running back to lay blocks.
Well, as we said, we can't say enough about the athleticism of these guys. They make a great adjustment. Now, Haldi may have had a type of a call. Sometimes when a quarterback gets into rest like that, he gives that red, and everybody kind of gets a heads up and starts coming back to block. Wolf should have caught that football.
34-yard field goal attempt for Nendick. This is his 2nd attempt of the day. He was good from 37 earlier, and that kick is up and good. So Northern Illinois cuts the Eastern Michigan lead down to a point. 2 offensive series for Northern, 2 field goals, but they trail by 1 here at Eastern Michigan. Back Eastern Michigan leading Northern by a point after the field goal. But Bob, you have to wonder, Garrett Wolf, remember, has an eye injury. That's got to be a pretty tough catch to make over the shoulder like that if you have an injured eye.
Absolutely. That was my first thought as the ball was thrown. I said, this has to be a touchdown. Garrett Wolf's a fine athlete. He can catch the football. That could have been as a result of the injured eye. And they do have the docs have put something on there where, you know, he is not able to look completely out to the outside of the eye in the periphery. And that could have had something to do with it. I believe some type of a lens or something like that. It'd be interesting to find out if we can.
Nendick to kick off. And this will be Riley at his own 3-yard line. Comes straight up the middle of the field. Gets to the outside to the 30 and then has to turn it back inside. Well, there's all sorts of Huskies waiting for him. And he was dropped down at the 34-yard line. So here comes the 3rd possession for Eastern Michigan. And at least right now, it's a matter of which team is going to be able to stop the other team.
Well, Jeff Jenick brought this offense from Northwestern. It is a very sophisticated and very complicated offense. And I invite our people to watch well, here's the run back, first of all. This young guy here, great shake, good job downfield. Northern Illinois needs to get to their marking points with their kickoff team and spread the field and not bunch up.
Another new formation, at least for this game is concerned, as the handoff will go to Sherrill up the middle, and that one will get no gain. We have a flag come in late in the play.
Before we get to the flag, as I started to say before about Jeff Jenick's offense, Bonet looks to the sideline. The coaches upstairs are actually calling the play based upon what they see on the defense. So there has to be a lot of patience. And I want to get talk about a little bit about offensive line play in this offense here in a second. I think it's going to end up a personal foul.
5-yard penalty, number 22 on the defense. 5 yards from the end of the run. First down.
You saw Travis Moore get knocked down from behind, and then he went barreling into one of the Eastern offensive linemen.
Well, again, when these offensive linemen come on the field, these are big guys. They're not in a huddle. That little respite that you get in the huddle really helps. They come out there and they are in a three-point stance, and they have to be patient. They have to wait for the call, because obviously it's critical to all 11 of the people. It's just as critical to them. But they're sitting down there in that stance. After a while, that can wear on an offensive lineman.
And when you get a big pileup like that, oftentimes you see somebody going off the field, and that is indeed the case.
You always tell a football player, never stand around a pile. When that ball is going down and the play is whistled dead, get away.
I believe that was Quince Holman who went out of the lineup. First down and 4 from the 41-yard line. 3 receivers out to the left. This time Northern shows blitz for the first time, and Northern Illinois has the right defense as Javen Lee comes up from his linebacker spot. He hits Sherrell, and he gets up limping a bit.
Well, the reason why Javen Lee was able to make this play is because the defensive line for Northern Illinois was stout, and that forced Sherrell to bounce the ball to the outside, and it bought time for pursuit. Javen Lee recognized it, came up, nice tackle. He hit him on the rise. That's what you want to tell these linebackers. Hit him on the rise and keep your legs moving. Regardless of the position of football, you keep your feet moving and you've got leverage, you've got a chance to be successful.
5 wide receivers into the game for Eastern Michigan on 2nd and 8 from their own 37-yard line. Bonet back to pass, has a man coming across the middle. It's A.J. Bennett. He'll have a first down. He's across midfield. He's finally taken out of bounds at the 45-yard line. A little matter of housekeeping here, Bob. With that field goal that Nendick just made, it gives him 85 points for the season. That's a new freshman single scoring record for Northern Illinois.
Well, this play here, this is basically an under route. And what it is, we call levels. You're going to take one of the defensive linemen or the defensive backs or the linebacker and level him. A guy in front of him, a guy in back of him. He goes deep, you throw it shallow. He goes shallow, you throw it deep. Great levels pass right there.
Eastern sticks with 5 wide receivers. Bonet fakes, runs, and he's crushed right before he got to the 35-yard line, but he will be close to another first down. He was hit head-on and hard by Travis Moore.
And remember one thing about Bonet, he's almost 6 feet 3 inches tall, and he weighs 230 pounds. When he takes off and starts running the football, this guy's a fundamental fullback. And we see him right here. He looks, he surveys the field, takes that little seam. Great job there breaking the tackle, puts the football away nicely. This is a big young guy running the football.
This is a freebie for Jeff Jenick in the Eastern Michigan Eagles. 2nd down and about a foot.
Jim, we call this a waist down. Little play action pass and go downfield. We'll see.
And instead, they will hand it off, and if not for a great effort of after getting the handoff and coming out of the backfield by Darren Matthews, that wouldn't be a first down, and it might not be anyway because there's a flag down on the field. And that's a personal foul called against Eastern Michigan, and they go from 2nd down and 1 to long distance.
I mean, that's just ridiculous. In a situation like that, you've got to settle your team down. You're on the move. You can't take them out of that position.
Dead ball, personal foul, late hit, number 48 offense, 15-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That was called to the tight end, Adam Jacobs, and on the replay, you could see a couple of Northern players just standing around. The whistle had blown, and the play was over, and you saw all of a sudden they went to their left because they had gotten run into, and that is where the call came from.
Well, I hate to say this, but you know, those things like that, young guys you can't do that in a football game. I hate to use this word in a situation, but what it is it's selfish. You got to be a team player right to the end. There's no reason for that. You know, you're third down in inches, 2nd down in inches. Now all of a sudden you're 3rd and 22 yards, 20 yards, whatever it is right here. Can't happen. You can't have it. Nice for Northern Illinois, however.
Right, it's a big play for Northern because now they're working with 3rd and 16. Bonet to pass, the sideline, Delorier makes the catch, and he will have the first down out of bounds at the 33-yard line.
This was a great throw and a great catch. This young guy he's the total package. He's big, he's strong, he's athletic, he has great touch. You hear me say this before, in certain passes, there's only one place that ball can be thrown, and that was the only place that ball could be thrown because that young man had to lay out for the football. He put it right on the money. Inexcusable for Northern Illinois' defense right now.
They miss an opportunity to get off the field on 3rd down. 1st and 10 for Eastern. Bonet looks over, gets the rest of the call. He had the formation, now he gets the call. Double tights, little fake handoff. Now Bonet loaded up and Phil looking downfield, has a man open and couldn't get it to him. He had A.J. Bennett running for the corner of the end zone.
Bonet should make that throw. The throw before that and the throw in the end zone were a lot more difficult. This is a ball that should have gone for a touchdown for Eastern Michigan. You know, I don't understand right now what is going on with the under coverage and the deep coverage for Northern Illinois, and I know that has to have Joe Novak very frustrated.
Well, his team they've not stopped Eastern Michigan yet on downs. They have an interception on the opening play of the game, and then Eastern scored a touchdown on their other possessions. 2nd down and 10 from the 33. 3 receivers in tight to the left, little screen, and that will go for about 5 yards down to the 28-yard line. It's just flipped out to the right side of the formation to Darren Matthews.
Well, an inevitable play in this situation. That's a great call there by Eastern. Northern Illinois did a decent job of staying at home. You know, they're a little bit deception. They had a 3-man set out to that side, and they did a little crisscross and a little bit this and that. Northern Illinois' linebackers stayed at home and came up and made the play. Huge, huge play right now for Northern Illinois defensively.
Well, let's see if they can get off the field on 3rd down this time. 3rd down and 5 from the Northern Illinois 28-yard line. Bennett is out to the right. Little play action. Bonet rolls to his right, throws. That's complete. That'll be a 1st down. Completion to Tremaine Riley.
You know, watch Hansbrough on this play. One of the things defensively you have to tell defenders, defense is knowing where your help is at. Hansbrough, if he misses this tackle, he needs to miss it with outside leverage, not inside leverage, because his help is to the inside. Young guys out there listening, you play football, always know defensively where your help is at. Where's your buddy? What's the most opportune thing for you to do if you can't make the play, for him to come in and make the play?
3 receivers to the left. Bonet puts it in the air, and that was incomplete. And that, well, for a second there, looked like it might have had a chance of being picked off by Rob Lee, and I have news for you, too. If Lee had gotten to it, he was gone.
Well, credit Quince Holman right there. Quince Holman got his pads down. He got his leg back. He knew it was going to be a pass play. Great call, great pressure. Nice job by the young guy. 6'3", 261 junior. Quince Holman, excellent. You know, Northern Illinois calls himself the attack 4-3. Now it's time to take the attack word and use it. They need it right now.
Matthews is the lone running back in the formation. Delorier is out to the right. And that is Matthews going up the middle, and he'll have a 1st down to the, or check that. He'll be down to the 11-yard line. He'll be short of the 1st down by about a yard.
Oh. Nice job there by the left side of the EMU defensive line, Walton and Kalita. That was what you'd call the old counter tray. But again, with only one back in the backfield, it doesn't have that much pull. We see the right guard, the left guard and the left tackle pulling, doing a nice job. And the old counter tray, we heard so much of that. John Madden talked about it forever.
Riggins.
And John Riggins, great play. What I mean by pull on the defense means less influence on the defense when you only have one back in the backfield out of the shotgun. You're less apt to get those linebackers running out of there.
Eastern Michigan comes out in a 5-wide look, but to see what they will do on 3rd down and 1 from the 11, we'll have to switch ends of the field and come back for the 2nd quarter. Neither team really able to stop the other so far. Eastern Michigan holds a 7-6 lead over Northern Illinois at the end of 1. Brad?
Jim Anthony Sherrill came out of the game. He was testing his ankle, seeing if he could go back in. He's not in there right now. However, he did not seek treatment, so I'm sure we'll see him back in the game momentarily.
Thank you, Brad. So Matthews is the running back in the game right now. Bonet hands to Matthews, right side. He's close, but it doesn't look like he has the 1st down.
I think they end up being a little bit short here. Anthony Sherrill, 1st-team All-MAC from Orchard Lake St. Mary's. Great high school football program in the Detroit suburbs. Be a huge loss.
Boy, I'm 0 for 2. I didn't think he had it. Well, by the time his knee went down, the ball was indeed over the 10-yard line. So actually, that's a dead-on spot by the officials, and 1st down and goal from the 10 for Eastern Michigan. Matthews stays in. Bonet gets the call. Matthews gets it up the middle. Ball pops free. It's loose. It was in the air, then it it's on the turf, and the Huskies have it. Second turnover against Eastern Michigan, and it couldn't have come at a better time for Northern Illinois.
This is a huge defensive play. This is where you have to come up in the red zone and make a play. What a motivation right now for Northern's offense to go on the field and just move this football. Big hit. I mean, that was a huge hit. Great heads-up play by Northern Illinois right there.
Well, that is about as hard of a hit as you are going to see Javen Lee, or it might have been Ray Smith, making the hit of the play.
I mean, that was great. That was pad under pad. He had his helmet right on the football. Wonderful, wonderful defensive play. And they got to come out right now and capitalize. 1st and 10 for Northern Illinois from their own 7-yard line. They have to be pretty happy about it. Handoff, Garrett Wolf, right side, has room over the 10, across the 15 before he's finally tripped up after a gain of 8 yards. It'll bring up 2nd down and 2. Watch my friend, the tackle here, Jake Versprati, on this play. Once again, adjusts to the defender and makes the block. Consequently, the ball was able to get outside.
So it's pretty simple right now. Eastern Michigan, they spread it out. They're going to throw it, and Northern is going to try and establish the ground game and grind it out. And the team that is able to do it more successfully, they'll be the guys that win this game. 2nd and 2, Wolf up the middle, and he will have a 1st down. He's hit at the 19-yard line, but Northern Illinois does exactly what they need to do first, and that is give themselves a little operating room.
Well, as I said in the first quarter, you know, when it comes, push comes to shove, you go to the things that you do best. Northern Illinois runs the football the best. They'll have to show a little bit more balance against Eastern Michigan today, though, and not just run the football, because Eastern Michigan's come up pretty big defensively. I'm a little bit surprised right now.
13:40 remaining in the 2nd quarter. Eastern Michigan leads 7-6. Haldi back to throw. Flips it out. Cieslak has it. Right sideline. Forced out of bounds to 29. He is close to another 1st down. Check that. It was Nordine making the catch.
What we see there is play action. Once you have a defense start respecting the run, then that play action becomes so effective. The linebackers have to freeze. They have to wait until the ball gets beyond the depth of the deepest back. That's what you teach linebackers. When the ball passes the last back, that's when you can get into your pass drop.
And here, again, and it works for Northern too, being a predominant running team, 2nd and 1. This is a freebie for them. Sheldon will go out to the left.
This situation, though, I'm going to hand the football off to Garrett. We're going to get the 1st
down. Your own end of the field, I agree. This shows what we know again. Haldi, play action, has a man open on the money. 1st down, Northern Illinois at the midfield stripe. The ball was right in the breadbasket for Sam Hurd.
Well, John Bond, the offensive coordinator, nice call, John. Jim, your call, I don't know.
No, that's why you and I are here and not coordinating.
Well, what is a ways down, okay? A ways down is the ball is like 2nd and a foot, maybe 2nd and right around a yard, where you say, look, if we can't get off play action, throwing the ball downfield, we know on the next play we can run the ball. It's referred to as a ways down.
1st and 10 from their own 49-yard line. Motion on the reverse, flipped on the reverse. Perez, right side, and he'll end up grabbing maybe a couple of yards and just edge the ball into Eastern Michigan territory.
We didn't fool anybody on that play right there. One of the things right here now, you can see basically a play action and the ball comes back in the other direction. Timing is critical to that play. Timing is critical. It didn't have enough of a pull to get the Eastern Michigan guys going to the other side of the field and then coming back the other way, as we just saw.
If Northern Illinois can mount a long drive, they do 2 things. They wear out the Eastern Michigan defense, and maybe you cool off the Eastern Michigan offense. 2nd down and 8. Garrett Wolf. Left side, has a blocker in front of him, has a 1st down. He's inside the 40 and down to the 37-yard line. Jerry Gaines able to pull him down.
You know, you mentioned Brian Van Acker before the game, 6'4", 287-pound center. Again, great athleticism by a great guy, pulling and leading this play. You don't see a lot of centers have the ability to do this. There he is right there. He doesn't need to get a knockdown block, just enough to spring that play.
So we are seeing 2 irresistible objects right now. The offenses for both schools. 1st down and 10. Haldi rolls to his right, throws, has a man wide open, and popped out of bounds right after he caught the ball with Sam Hurd.
Sam Hurd has great hands. I've had an opportunity to see him play twice this year. You know, I mentioned before about catching the football with your eyes and not your hands. What I mean by that is you have to look that football all the way in. And one of the things I always wanted to teach tight ends is have good head pop on the ball. In other words, when the ball comes into your body, get your eyes down on the ball, secure the ball before you start to get upfield. Pop that head down on the ball, look the ball in, secure it. Because now you've gone from being a wide receiver to being a running back. Yards after catch. How many times have you heard that on Sunday afternoon?
Sheldon is in the slot to the left. Wolf is the lone setback. Wolf gets the call up the middle, has some room. He'll take it down to the 23-yard line, move the chains again. First down, Northern Illinois. Where do you go for everything NIU? Next time, go where people in the know go. Log into NIUHuskies.com, the official site of Northern Illinois Athletics.
Great push on the left side of the offensive line. They're on a little bit of a roll. You ask an offensive lineman, I don't care what level he's playing at, would you rather run block or would you rather pass block? They'll tell you 99% of the time, we want to run block. We want to hit that defender right in the mouth, keep our feet moving, hands inside, pad under pad, and get a push.
Double tights for Northern Illinois on first down and 10 from just inside the Eastern Michigan 25. Garrett Wolf is out there by himself. All sorts of room. He has another first down, and he finally takes it down to about the 11-yard line before he's finally pulled down from behind by Rontel Woodruff.
Brad Cieslak on this play. Watch the tight end make the adjustment. He makes the adjustment and comes back on the block right there. Bammo. Good job. Nice job of running the football by Garrett Wolf. Northern Illinois right now, the Huskies, they are in a rhythm. That's what I wanted to see in the first quarter, but hey, better late than never.
First and 10 from the 11. If I hadn't been wrong so often before, I'd say Garrett Wolf's going to get it here, and he does. Wolf inside the 10 by himself. That's about as easy of a touchdown as Garrett Wolf is going to get all year. 19th touchdown of the year for Garrett Wolf, and Northern Illinois has the lead, 12-7.
Great job of Garrett Wolf here of vision. You know, I mentioned before that he had that eye injury and didn't catch the ball. Great job of vision. He starts out here to his right. He sees a little bit of a cutback. He brings the ball back, creates that lateral seam. But hey, Sam Hurd in the secondary, just a little bit of a bump block, but that's what got the ball into the end zone.
Kick is up and good, and the Huskies, an impressive drive that covers 91 yards and results in a touchdown. Huskies 13, Eagles 7 in the second quarter.
Lower those utility bills with new custom windows and siding from
Bears Colts Showdown on U.S. Cellular Bears postgame live coming up tomorrow. Dan Jiggets, Marv Levy, Dave Dewerson, and Chris Zorich recap all the action and bring you live interviews with players as they leave the locker room. U.S. Cellular Bears postgame live tomorrow immediately after the Bears game on Comcast Sports Net. Trumaine Riley set up deep, awaiting the kickoff. We have a funny feeling, Bob, we're going to have a lot of kickoffs the rest of the way because the offenses are rolling, the defenses having a little bit of a problem. This is Riley at the 2-yard line. Brings it up the middle of the field, has a little bit of room. He was tripped up at the 20 and then stays on his feet until he gets out to about the 27-yard line, where now we will get to see the throwing version of offense against Joe Novak's defense.
You know, I talked a little bit before we went to break about, about wide receivers and complete wide receiver play. Complete wide receiver is not just the guy who catches the football. He's got to run good routes. And one of the things that I think is critically important, I'll tell you, if I want to look at a wide receiver going downfield, he has to be able to block. And that's what I've seen. These wide receivers from Northern Illinois are very well coached.
Anthony Sherrill back in the game for Eastern Michigan. He nicked up his ankle 2 series ago. Northern needs to see if they can get some heat on Bonet. Sherrill makes the carry, and the Huskies have that one totally snuffed out. Javen Lee comes up and makes the hit. We'll give Sherrill a yard on the play. 2nd down and 9 coming.
Javen Lee does a very nice job. Great recognition. A very patient linebacker. That's what you have to be against this type of an offense. I coached a linebacker at Northern Illinois. I won't tell you his name. He has 2 Super Bowl rings. Not 1, he has 2. A little trivia question here for you, my friend.
Oh, man. I'm so bad at trivia. My life is a trivia question. 2nd down and 9. Sherrill on the play fake. Now a roll out. Flipped out to the side to Riley, and he has the ball. But will he have a first down? He's going to be very, very close at the 37-yard line.
There we go with that play action again out of the shotgun. They pulled one of the offensive linemen, which gives Bonet an opportunity of a pass-run option, which is very difficult to defend for the corners or the person that has contained to that side.
Well, on the trivia question, I know Sonia Henney's out. How about Danny Noonan?
Clarence Vaughn from Gage Park High School at 55th and Western in Chicago. I inherited Clarence when I came to become the linebacker coach at Northern. He was recruited actually by Coach Mallory and Coach Novak and that staff. One of the great young men I've had the honor of being around. Has 2 Super Bowl rings with the Washington Redskins. Now in Chicago, doing very, very well in the business for us. Clarence Vaughn. There's your trivia question answered.
Next time I'll get it. First down and 10 for Eastern Michigan from their own 37. Bonet back to pass. That one's high. Picked off by Lionel Hickenbottom. He has one guy to beat going into the end zone, and he gets tripped up at the 22-yard line. Third turnover for Eastern Michigan, and one of my favorite stats in football, Bob. You turn it over 4 times, you make it awfully difficult to win, and now Northern is just 1 away from that number.
We see just a little bit of pressure on Bonet here. Not much, just a little bit, enough to rattle him. Wonderful, wonderful defensive play there by Hickenbottom, staying at home, keeping patience. And you know what? Keeping the football inside and in front of the defense, and going up and being a wide receiver, albeit a defensive back when the play started.
Jeff Jennings, quarterback, has now thrown 2 picks, and the Eagles fumbled it away on their last series. So now Northern Illinois a chance to add to their lead. Little reverse look. Haldi goes to the end zone, and that is in and out of the hands of Chatone Powers.
What happens in this situation when you start to have confidence in running the football? Now you've got the football on the 20-yard line, okay? Little play action, you can throw the ball downfield. This ball's thrown into double coverage, however. If that would have been a catch, that would have been something. Double coverage. Haldi, don't throw that one again.
If that would have been a catch, it still would have been not a pleasant time in the film session for Josh Haldi. Handoff to Garrett Wolf on 2nd down and 10. Gets to the outside. Stayed on his feet for a moment. Pretty good job of run support coming up from his corner spot by Tyler Griffin.
Great pursuit by the Eastern Michigan defense. One of the things as a defensive coach you talk about all the time, pursuit, pursuit, pursuit. Defensive coaches from Eastern Michigan are telling those defenders, I want 11 green helmets on that football every single time. You know, we've got these pro scouts over in the booth next to us. They're watching guys that are prospects for the NFL. Backside guys. Does he run to the football every single time? And that's pursuit. And that'll get you a lot of points with these guys.
So now 3rd down and 10 from the 21 for Northern Illinois. Play fake. Haldi looking into the end zone, and that is going to be incomplete. Now, some people might be saying, well, why would Northern Illinois get away from their run when they have the ball in plus territory in the 20? But you know what? I go back to the first play of the series, Bob. I like the attitude. I think by the play calling, you're showing your players, we're going to go for the jugular here. They don't get it, but they'll try a field goal.
You know, and I'm going to disagree. I'm going to disagree. I want to go with the identity of the offense. The identity of the offense. I want to go to things that we do well when we're in tough situations.
38-yard field goal attempt by Nendick. He's made 2 already today, and that one is no good. Wide to the right. So Northern Illinois, after the pickoff by Lionel Hickenbottom, and having a fantastic opportunity to add to their 13-7 lead, they come up empty, and now it's time for the Eastern Michigan offensive show to come back on the field.
See, another thing I don't like, the psychological effect of that. You know, you're running the football, you're moving the football, continue to run the football, move the football. You know, even if you don't get it into the end zone, force Eastern Michigan to play with an 80, 90-yard field. The psychological effect of mixing that kick after that drive a little bit, I don't like that. Doesn't sit well.
Well, this is the final regular season football game of the year for Northern Illinois, and basketball season is now here, and NIU has a fantastic campaign at the beautiful new Convocation Center in DeKalb. This Wednesday, November 24th, cram the Convo night, 7 p.m. as they take on Southwest Missouri State. 1st down and 10 from the 21. Bonet rolls to his left. Boy, it looks like a jailbreak out there with all the people running around. That's a completion to Delorier. Hickenbottom came up and made the stop at the 29-yard line.
Before we started talking about spreading the field, we started talking about flood patterns. Right there, what you see is a flood pattern. Everybody coming to this sideline with the play action fake. He has a lot of options as to what to do with the football. Finds the open receiver.
That one was nearly picked off, too. And we go to the run on second down and short, and nothing doing. So, at least the last couple of times that Eastern Michigan has run the football, Northern Illinois has been all over it.
Well, they're staying stout up front. What do you want to do with your defensive linemen is you're talking to them about creating a new defensive front. And you want that new defensive front to be created at heels depth. Heels depth of the offensive linemen. They take care of all those guys up front. Javen Lee, zing, boom, bam. He's making tackles. Javen Lee, very, very impressive today.
Third down and 1. Sherrill on the carry, has the first down and more. Hickenbottom drags him down at the 40-yard line. So a little bit of out-of-character football for Eastern Michigan. They pick up a first down with 2 of the 3 plays being runs.
Well, that's what we said earlier. You think we're going to do this? We're going to do that. We got the chess game going here. A little bit of an inside handoff. Nothing there. Takes the ball to the outside. No contained there by the Northern Illinois defense.
Rob Lee also helping out in the tackle.
Hickenbottom comes up, and he's come up big all day today.
First and 10 from their own 41 for Eastern Michigan. They trail by 6. Bonet rolls out, throws, and that was incomplete. It hit the turf before it went into the hands of A.J. Bennett.
One of the things I know about Joe Novak, he will have a heavy hand in the defensive side of the football. Joe Novak was Bill Mallory's defensive coordinator when Northern Illinois, some 21 years ago, went to the bowl game out in Fullerton, the All-American Bowl. Joe Novak is a football coach, kind of a throwback type of football coach. Knows that if you're going to win, you've got to win with great defense.
Second down and 10. Slot receiver out to the left. Delorier is out wide to the left. Northern showing blitz. Here they come. Eastern picked it up. Complete. Delorier has it at midfield and then carries for another 4 yards before he's hauled down by Alva Hansbrough.
Nice job by Bonet here and Delorier getting the football right on the break. You know, this is a big route in the West Coast offense. They call it sometimes an elongated handoff. That ball is thrown to a spot. He knows he's going to be there. The defender cannot be right when he's coming off of that type of a break.
It's one of the few times, and we may see it more often as we go along, Northern trying to generate heat by bringing a blitz. Bonet doing a little Peyton Manning routine right now. Sherrill, the handoff. He cuts it back to the left. He's met at the 45-yard line and thrown back after a gain. We'll give him a yard on the play on the pickup. Ray Smith with the tackle.
Ray Smith with a nice job here. That's a misdirection play out of a shotgun offense. You know, that is nothing more than what I referred to earlier as the old counter tray, but they do it off of the shotgun, which again does not have as much influence on the defense as if you had 2 backs in the backfield the way play was originally run. And you mentioned John Riggins, who ran the play so well.
It also gives the receivers a chance to catch their breath before you come back and throw it again. Second down and 9. Make it 2nd and 8 officially. Sherrill in the play fake. Now Bonet looking downfield, throws it down the middle. Delorier just missed it. It will be pass interference on Hansbrough. Well, it looked like Hansbrough had pretty good coverage. Then Delorier jumped up in the air to try and catch the ball and slowed his momentum, and that's when Hansbrough ran into him.
Jim, this is a result, again, of the lack of pass rush by Northern Illinois. I saw the Toledo game almost 2 weeks ago, and that was the same problem they had. Without a pass rush, this just really, for the secondary, becomes very difficult. Nice route there, good, well-thrown ball.
Number 15, defense, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic, first down.
From the other angle, I was, well, why is that pass interference? But from the last angle you saw, you could see Hansbrough take his hand and push the elbow of Delorier as he went to reach for the ball.
You know, we're coming into that red zone, as we call it, Ron. We used to say inside the 20. Now it's the red zone. I think it's time for Denny Dornbos, the defensive coordinator from Northern Illinois, start bringing a little bit of heat. Get these guys out of the momentum they're in right now.
First and 10 from the 29-yard line for Eastern Michigan. 6:55 remaining in the second quarter. Eastern Michigan trails by 6. Hit as he throws, and that's exactly what Northern Illinois is going to have to do, is get some heat and make Bonet wonder who's going to be coming after him. They get some heat, and he can't stand in there and deliver a good throw.
You know, when we talk about getting pressure on the quarterback, we often think in terms of defensive ends coming upfield. But you know, I'll tell you what really helps that situation is if the big guys, Pullman and Wilson, if they get a push up front, because Bonet's a big guy, and he'll step up and throw the football. But if he's got his center or his guard right in his lap, he can't do that. Now he's got to throw the football over the tops of the heads of the offensive linemen rather than having visual lanes to determine where the receivers are.
That's the first time that Northern Illinois has made Bonet a little bit uncomfortable in the pocket. He's back to throw now. He's going for the end zone. Delorier gets behind his man, got his hands on it, but could not haul it in. Delorier showed about 2 different gears. The ball was in the air. He ran a little harder. It hung up on him, and he ran hard again and very nearly caught it.
Well, that was certainly a great defensive play. But again, I don't want to belabor the point, but you mentioned it before in the series before. Northern's got to start getting some pressure. This guy you can't let him stand back there and just throw the football that way.
Hansbrough on the coverage again. Make it 3rd down and 10 from the 29. Northern has not been able to get off the field on 3rd down. Can they do it here? Slot to the left, that's Tremaine Riley. Pressure, and again, Bonet has to throw it before he really wanted to, and that will bring up 4th down. Now, Eastern Michigan has one of the best kickers in the country, Andrew Wellock, so they'll bring him into the game here to try for a field goal.
Bonet shows great arm strength here. I mean, this guy is, I mean, he throws the ball off the wrong leg. You want to throw it with that with momentum like a pitcher does and get it, you know, all those things that make a quarterback a fine quarterback. But sometimes you can't do that. When you start to throw the ball off your back leg just a little bit and you still have great arm strength, that's something special.
Well, 19 of 21 on the year, and this attempt is going to come from 46 yards out, well within his range, and that one is right down the middle. So we have yet to see a punt in this game, but yet only a total of 23 points on the board. So the defenses have actually done a pretty good job in the red.
Applebee's new car side to go.
I've just heard some interesting news over the headset. That is Monday night, Kirk Heinrich of the Bulls will continue their road show with a trip to the desert for a showdown against Steve Nash and the Phoenix Suns. Then after the game, stick around for Bulls postgame live. Bulls Suns Monday night at 8 right here on Comcast Sportsnet. And Lionel Hickenbottom will be watching as well.
Is that what you would refer to, professionals, as a segue?
Yes.
A segue. I knew it was a segue.
Or synergy if you're in the business world. And that is a kick by Wellock that travels just inside the end line. Now, we got a lot of Canadian football players in the game, Delorier being one of them. So that would have been very close to being a single on a Canadian field.
And let me tell you why they have a lot of Canadian football players on this Eastern Michigan team. First of all, we're about 45 minutes from Canada. Second of all, the University of Michigan, which is right down the street, has probably the biggest and best football camp in the country. And all of a sudden, Lloyd Carr, who's the head coach now, when he was an assistant, went up to Canada and started recruiting. And all of a sudden, all of these kids started to come to the Michigan camp, and the MAC coaches worked the Michigan camp.
Right, and that's where a lot of these Eastern Michigan guys were more or less discovered, is at Lloyd Carr's camp. 1st down and 10 for Northern Illinois. Garrett Wolf on the handoff, and he'll pick up a couple. Now, this is an interesting series for Northern Illinois, Bob, because there's 6:27 remaining on the clock. Northern Illinois, I think, has to be a little bit conscious of grinding it out, running down some clock, because if Eastern gets the ball back with a couple minutes left, they can score. And Northern Illinois, well, they've had at least a chance to score in every one of their drives.
You know, stay with the identity of your offense. That's what I'd like to see right now. Stay with the identity. Run the football. Run the football. Keep Eastern's defense on the field and keep the rest of those guys on the bench.
So here comes Garrett Wolf again, and they're listening to Bob as Wolf will take it out to the 25-yard line. That will bring up 3rd down and 5.
Talk about a great football player who was discovered at the Michigan camp, Tamanga Biakabatuka. Young guy came down from Canada, came to the camp, as they say, the rest is history.
That's why those football camps are such a big deal for the coaches and the players.
Well, they'd have 1,200 kids at the camp. The Michigan staff couldn't handle it themselves. They hire 2, 3, 4, 5 guys from each Mid-American school and different places, and these guys come in and get a chance to evaluate the talent.
And last I checked, Lloyd Carr doesn't have 1,200 scholarships. Haldi on the move, throws 1st down, Northern Illinois just across the 30-yard line. It will move the stakes on the 3rd catch of the game by Sam Hurd.
See, that call there I like. You run the football a little bit, you throw that little bit of an out, you move the football, you start to get in a rhythm, and you keep Genix offense off the field. That's the key right now. Right here, Haldi, nice job. Squares the shoulders up. Good release. Puts the football where it needs to be put. Nice throw. Good adjustment on the catch also.
And trust me, that's a huge first down for Northern Illinois. Because remember, Northern will likely get the football to start the second half as they defer their choice. Garrett Wolf on first down, up the middle. Boy, just a Smurf-like quality of picking his way around all the big bodies, and ends up out to the 41-yard line after a gain of 7, bringing up second down and 3.
Well, football started 1,000 years ago with some form of rugby, and what you saw right there was a scrum. It was a scrum by the offensive line. Just a push, zone blocking, a hat on a hat. Move them out of the way. Keep your legs moving. Nice job, Northern Illinois offensive line. I'm a big fan of offensive linemen.
Kevin Harrison making the tackle on the play. Officially second down and 4. Here comes Garrett Wolf again. He's wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage, and he's actually going to lose about a yard on the play. Kevin Howe making the tackle. I'm a big fan. I just believe football is all about winning the battle up front, Bob, and I love seeing teams that can just line up, punch you in the mouth, and run the football down the field.
Well, Garrett Wolf here, he needed to take the football where it was supposed to go, over to the left side of that line. He deviated there just a little bit and jumped outside, and it was a little push by the defensive end from Eastern. He'd have stayed with the player, stayed where the play was supposed to be. Garrett Wolf still may be running. And that's when you get in the film sessions and all the offensive linemen turn around and look, run the ball behind me.
Third down and 5. Haldi back to throw, swings it out. A textbook tackle on Brad Cieslak to keep him short of the first down. Chris Roberson made the stop, and now a flag goes down. You talked about poor tackling, Bob. That tackle should go in the instruction manual. And Roberson is not getting up.
I mean, tackling Brad Cieslak in the open field is not an easy deal. Be interesting to call here.
Because it came late in the play.
And it looked like the Eastern Michigan defenders were protesting a little bit as to what the call was. This could be against Eastern.
That might have been one of those just take your time getting up.
Oh.
The bottom line is this: Northern is short of the first down after the play from scrimmage.
Play was over. Dead ball. Personal foul. Number 86. Offense. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Fourth down.
Penalty is on Jake Nordine, the other tight end. Let's take a look. But Haldi swinging it out. They just corrected the, it's on Cieslak, and Cieslak spun the football and flipped it in the face of Kevon Barbee, and that's what the penalty is. So now, a lot of things happen on that play. Northern loses 15 yards of field position, the clock stops, there's 3.5 left, and now Eastern Michigan is going to get the ball back, and they're going to get pretty decent field position out of all this. Trumaine Riley is standing at his 43-yard line awaiting the kick of Gallagher. This is the first punt of the game, by the way. And compounding the mistake in the previous play, the Huskies run into Riley as he tries to make a fair catch, and now Eastern Michigan is going to have the ball in Northern territory with 3:20 left.
These last two plays, these last two penalties, I'm sorry, are very atypical of a Joe Novak coach football team. These guys got to get on the sideline and regroup. They're losing their poise.
Penalty will be interference with making a fair catch, and Riley is, that's Hansbrough was coming up to make the play, and he saw the sign, but because the receiver was moving forward, he had a hard time pulling
Kick catch
back.
interference. Kicking team, number 11, 15 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
In this situation, when things are going this way, that defender coming downfield, he has to err on the side of a conservatism and give this guy, he's gonna fair catch the ball anyway. What difference does it make? That's as far as the ball is gonna go. Let him catch the ball, get out of his way. You have to have a call that way when you come downfield. The kicking team coach, hey, look, you know, if you see one of your guys get, you know, give him a call. We'll call it red, call it blue, call it green. Pull up, stay back. It's a fair catch.
Here come the Eagles on 1st and 10 from the Northern Illinois 38-yard line. Bonet is going to roll to his right, or roll to his left, excuse me, takes a look, buys some time, flips it out, has a man open, finds A.J. Bennett. He's down to the 25-yard line before Hansbrough takes him down.
Wonderful job here, not only by Bonet, but by A.J. Bennett. When that quarterback starts to scramble, you pull up as a wide receiver, you find that soft spot in the zone, you make the adjustment. We see Bonet scrambling here. Now A.J. Bennett adjusts to the scramble, comes up, makes the football. And one of the great things he does right there, which tells me he's well coached, he came back for the football rather than lingering in that particular zone.
3 receivers to the right, but Delorier is out to the left to try and get him single coverage. They try to set up a screen, and that thing was just absolutely blown up by Quince Holman. It was supposed to go to Sherrill.
Recognition. Quince Holman, nice job. Probably saw that in practice about 30 times this week. Stayed at home. That defense, that offensive tackle, he's inviting you to get upfield, get upfield. You look like you're going to beat him. Bing, the ball's thrown over your head. Quince Holman said, not me, not this time. I'm sitting right on this thing. Here he is right here. Good, wonderful, great defensive play at a critical time also.
Northern Illinois has had to make a change in their secondary because Rob Lee is over on the sideline with an injury, so he is out of the game at the moment. 2nd down and 10. Double slots for Eastern Michigan. Boy, it's just strange seeing the players look over on the sideline waiting for the call, and Bonet didn't have enough of the information, so he has to call a timeout with 2:54 remaining in the second quarter. Before the end of the half, they have the lead 13-10, but this is one of those games, Bob, where the team that has the lead, Northern Illinois, the team that has their defense on the field really has the pressure on them.
Northern Illinois has to walk away from this particular offensive set by Eastern Michigan, only giving up 3 points.
And the Northern Illinois defense has done a good job. They've had 3 turnovers and nearly another one there as Jabin Lee comes up, wraps up Delorier, and also knocked the football away. So the Northern defense, really, when you look at it, they've been backing up a lot, but they've come up with big plays in the turnovers, and they only have 10 points on the board against them.
Well, there's Denny Dornbos. He's the defensive coordinator at Northern Illinois. We were graduate assistant coaches together at the University of Michigan. Denny's a Western Michigan graduate, knows this conference inside and out.
4 wide receivers in the game right now. Sherrill is the only running back on 3rd down and 10 from the 25. Bonet back to pass, looking for Delorier, off his hands. Boy, Delorier does a wonderful job of adjusting to the ball even after he's in the air. He nearly pulled that one down.
Well, he's a talented guy. A lot of guys couldn't even get near that football, and this young guy probably walking away from there saying, I should have had that catch. Which with Delorier's talents, he probably should have caught this football.
And the thing is, look at the coverage. The coverage is not that bad, and the ball is just laying in there right into his hands, at least where he had a chance to make the catch. Now, Wellock will come in to attempt a 42-yard field goal, and this would tie the game at 13. The holder is A.J. Bennett. Wellock was successful in his first attempt, and as they like to say in golf, you could lay out the sprinkler line by that drive right down the middle. So Northern Illinois really with a victory on defense, I think, Bob, because they come on the field already in their own territory, and they only give up 3.
All things considered, that was a good defensive stand right there, giving this team only 3 points in that situation, again, as a victory. Joe Novak probably wouldn't call it a victory. He'd like to see no points by those guys, but at the same time, it may make a difference from going in even or going down. 4 points. This will be a big series right now. Northern Illinois have a big series. They've got a chance to get the football in the end zone with some good field position on a kickoff.
Tomorrow, get a complete recap of the Bears-Colts showdown on U.S. Cellular Bears postgame live. Dan Jiggets, Marv Levy, Dave Duerson, Chris Sorich. They recap all the action and bring you live interviews with players as they leave the locker room. U.S. Cellular Bears postgame live tomorrow immediately after the Bears postgame, or after the Bears game, I should say, on Comcast Sportsnet. A lot of Notre Dame guys in that show, Bob.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about Chicago guys. Marv Levy. Hey, Marv Levy, in all reality, should still be coaching football someplace. That man is one of the fine coaching minds in all of football. As a young coach, I had a chance to talk to him on a number of occasions, and he's a Chicago guy, which is very special to me.
A Lane Tech guy, and Lane Tech playing a semifinal high school playoff game today. So 2:40 remaining, which is a ton of time the way this thing is developed, and that one will be back into the end zone. Northern will start out 1st and 10 from their own 20. And I would suspect we'll see, let's try and move it up the field a little bit, grind it out, and then if we can get it up to the 50 and still have some time, we'll see what happens. And there's a flag down in the field, and it's lying at the 38-yard line. And it looks like we're going to get a re-kick here. Or do you just save us the trouble, because Wellick will probably kick this one in the end zone again and just take it on the 20.
Wellick will play football on Sundays, trust me.
Yes.
These guys, these pro scouts in the booth, look at those pencils. They're flying all over the place. Who's this Wellick guy? How do we get him? Good guy, a lot of character.
He comes from a town that is a good town to be from if you have aspirations for pro football.
The result of the play was a touchback. We have encroachment, number 32 on the kicking team, 5-yard penalty, assessed from the touchback spot or the 20-yard line. First down, Northern Illinois.
I've been in football 25 years.
That is an arcane rule.
Oh, what?
Arcane.
What does that mean?
That means you have to dig way into the rule book to find that one.
Encroachment on the kickoff.
Encroachment on the kickoff, and it's assessed from the touchback spot.
If I was coaching, I wouldn't know who to blame.
Which, this works out great for Northern Illinois.
Jeff Jenick, he's out there. He's looking for that book. Hey, show me that book. Where is that? Where is that calling?
Show it to me in the rule book, as they like to say, the parents like to say in Little League Baseball.
And the officials taking Casey Stengel attitude. You can look it up. I like this Jeff Jenick. I like his demeanor on the sideline. I like his recruiting philosophy. He's going to go in Detroit, almost exclusively recruit Detroit. I think he's going to be successful.
Well, he got a young man named Dewan Bracey, who was one of the top high school players in Detroit last year. We haven't seen him yet today, but he got him to come here to Eastern Michigan. Haldi will roll out on 1st and 10, has a man open, and it's picked off. Picked off at the 47-yard lines. The officials are in disagreement. One is saying interception, the other is saying out of bounds. And the call of out of bounds is the one that will hold. He had Sheldon open on the sideline for a moment.
Fred Haldi, you got to show a little more maturity in this situation. There's 2 minutes and 35 seconds left on the clock. If that ball's not going to be caught, Josh, throw it out of bounds. Throw it to one of those Eastern Michigan guys about 5 yards on the sideline.
Rontel Woodruff had the ball in his hands, but has nothing to show for it, as it was ruled he was out of bounds when he came down. 2nd down and 10 from the 25. Wolf is the lone setback. Wolf gets the carry, has a convoy in front of him. He's out to the 30, spins his way to the 33 before he was pulled down. It was Kevin Harrison making the tackle.
Trivia time again, once again, Jim. Garrett Wolf. Oh, here we go. Let's watch Garrett here one more time. Let's watch these offensive linemen out there. What I like right here, talk about a well-coached guy. The ball's in the proper hand. He gets it to harm's way. Bammo. He's out of bounds. If that ball's going to be fumbled, it's going to be fumbled out of bounds, not into where the defenders can get the football. Nice job right there. Good ball security. 3rd down and 1. Northern needs to move the chains here.
Wolf trying to find an opening. I don't know how he found it, but he did. Got out to the 37-yard line, moves the chains. 1st down. Bednarik makes the tackle.
Good patience here. Good patience. He waited until he saw a lateral seam in the defense. Stood up there, patted his feet. Bing, bing, this way and that way. All of a sudden, he saw daylight. Right there, just a little hesitation. Where is it? There it is. Nice job coming back across by Matt McGahee. Good job.
1:45 left. Sheldon got a hand on it, but could not pull it down.
All right, Garrett Wolf played at Holy Cross High School in River Grove, Illinois.
Right.
His high school coach was a former Husky wide receiver. Who was it?
Oh, man. I'm going to bet it's somebody you coached.
No. but he was on the team when I coached at Northern Illinois. Virgil Garrett, he's the defensive coordinator right now for Coach DeCanio at Fenwick High School in Oak Park. Those guys did a great job for my alma mater this year.
Yeah, Fenwick had a great year, and as you often see in the Catholic League, a lot of teams had a great year. Providence right now, they have the best shot of winning a state title. Haldi flushed out, rolls, had a man open, and it goes in and out of the hands of Sam Hurd. That's the first time today that it's gotten close to him, and he hasn't snagged it.
Sam knows why he didn't catch that football. He took his eyes off of it. Haldi, nice job of scrambling, stepping up. Hurd comes across, bammo. Maybe a little bit, maybe Josh take a little bit off that ball, but at the same time, Sam Hurd should have made that catch, and Sam knows it better than anybody.
So that stops the clock with 1:33 remaining. And the Huskies will readjust here. They just don't want to let that Eastern Michigan offense back on the field. Third down and 10. Dan Sheldon is in the slot to the left. Haldi takes a look. Pressure comes. He pulls it down. Sprints out. Has a little room across the 40. He will be short of a first down. Taken down at the 46-yard line. Bednarik stayed home and made the tackle.
That play there doesn't bother me, to be very honest. Obviously, you want a play that's going to be a positive play, and you want to move the chains. There was nothing there for Josh. He took off with the football, ran the ball, secured the football, punted the football that give Eastern bad field position. Here, he pulls the football down here, starts to run with the football. This is what I like here. He covers the football. That is a safe situation right there. That shows a little bit more maturity than when he threw that out route that could have been intercepted.
Eric Petway, the starting defensive tackle for Eastern Michigan, limped off the field on that play. Eastern Michigan calls a timeout here to try and preserve what's left of the 1:12 on the clock.
I'd be curious to see what's going on in that huddle that they're talking about right there from that Northern Illinois sideline right there.
Boy, you would be tempted to go for it, but you'd be insane if you did. Keep up with your favorite NIU athletes every week by watching Inside Husky Sports Thursdays at 5 right here on Comcast Sportsnet, hosted by Brad Hoy. Review this week's game and get the inside scoop on NIU football and basketball. Inside Husky Sports only on Comcast Sportsnet, coming up Thursday at 5, which just happens to be Thanksgiving Day. So you can have your dinner early, and before the tryptophan kicks in and you fall asleep, Inside Husky Sports. See, I got your whole day planned out for you, Bob.
That's very nice. Write that down before I leave, because I'll forget. You know, hey, I was at that Toledo game Tuesday night. That was unbelievable. Over 27,000 people. I mean, that was big, big time. Very, very special. You know, Northern's averaging over 27,000 fans per game. Highest in the Mid-American Conference and the best ever at Northern Illinois.
And they're also bringing a lot of people with them as they travel around the country as well, which is one of the reasons why Northern is a very good candidate for a bowl game, whether they get a chance to play for the MAC title or not. 4th down and 1, they do decide to go for it, at least try and pull Eastern Michigan off, and that's what they try and do. They'll call a timeout. Not a bad call.
No, not at all. Use that timeout in this situation,
yeah,
no question.
You're not going to use the timeouts on defense if you punt it away, so. So, Northern Illinois, waiting to see what happens over the final 1:12 in this quarter. Northern and Eastern Michigan tied at 13. One from the Northern 47. Garrett Wolf gets it. He has some room. It's a race to the stakes, and he gets there. He got there by a yard. So obviously, Northern Illinois deciding, you know what? No matter how much field we give Eastern Michigan to work with, we don't want their offense on the field. We'll go for it here. That's a gutsy call.
Why it's a gutsy call is because a call to the outside, usually in that situation, you're going to run the ball right into the teeth of the defense and hope that a back like Garrett finds that seam. Reason why, the farther he runs, the deeper he runs and the wider he runs, the more time you're buying for the defense.
I understood where you were going. Swung out to Wolf, makes the catch at midfield, misses a tackle, and then a flag comes in as Wolf steps out of bounds at the 46-yard line. So let's go back to that 4th and 1 call. And I said earlier you'd be insane to go for it, but realistically, you're going to put your defense out there with 1:12. Why not go for it? I mean, you have to figure if your defense can't stop them with 1:12 to go from 50 yards out, you know.
I like the call. Personally, I like the call an awful lot. I think, you know, it sends a message to your guys, too, especially to the guys up front.
Illegal block in the back, above the waist, number 83 offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Still first down.
Plus the fact, adding into that equation, is with Eastern Michigan being out of timeouts, it's pretty tough to move it that far with just 1:12 on the clock.
You evidently have read that coaching book.
Yes.
It's apparent to me.
So now Northern backed up to their own 41-yard line. Haldi back to throw, finds a man. He had it in the hands of Dan Sheldon, and I will guarantee you, you haven't seen that more than a couple of times this year. That pass was right on the money, right to Sheldon. He couldn't hang on.
Young guys, he's an excellent wide receiver. And you know, you have to stick with the fundamentals, the things that you do well. look the football all the way in, especially in a situation like that. That ball was thrown right, you know, you've got a curl area and you've got a drop area. He was right between the seams of that defense. That's the only place that he could have sat in there and caught that football. Nice job by him as a wide receiver getting in the right place. Now make the catch.
Screen set up. Garrett Wolf has it, has blocking in front of him, has one man to beat, gets by him, and then finally takes it to the 46-yard line before he's wrestled out of bounds. It was Bednarik who had to fight off a block and then go find Garrett Wolf.
Here's one thing. You get three guys out in front of the screen right there. You got to start communicating. Who's got, you know, all of a sudden, three guys, he said he had him, I had him, you had him, now nobody has him, and the play is made. Point to the guy. Talk. Hey, get him right there. To the inside, I'll go to the outside. There's nothing wrong with doing that.
Third down. Haldi throws, has Hurd. He slips as he makes his cut. He'll be short of the first down by a yard. 17 seconds remaining. And if Northern Illinois had made a first down there, maybe they run one more play and try and get into field goal range or take a shot at the end zone, but they'll just be content to let this thing run down.
You know, I've mentioned the Northern Illinois offensive line. I mentioned the last game that I did for them. This man, Sam Pittman, he's the assistant head coach. He does a great job. But look at his background. Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma. I mean, he's been around. He's coached some great players. He's an impressive assistant football coach. Northern's lucky to have him.
So Northern calls timeout with 3 seconds left, so that will give them a chance to make a stab at the end zone before the half ends.
You know, you come here, just good timeout, you regroup, get together. You know, that's why I never liked the no-huddle offense. I never liked it. A huddle is a meeting. It's a board meeting. The chairman of the board is the quarterback. You're exchanging information. You leave nothing to chance. You regroup. You break the huddle. The defense is looking, whoa, look at these guys with the Huskies on their helmets. What are they going to do? Well, you stand out there with that, and I know teams have been successful with the no-huddle, but I don't like it. I'll go on the record right now as saying I don't like it. I don't like the lack of organizational aspects of it and the lack of communication out on the field.
See, now me, I hate meetings. So I would be a no-huddle advocate. Just bring it over from the business.
The quarterback's going to say, look, what do I do on this play? I got a guard here who's a freshman. I'm a tackle. He said, well, you take him. You know, when you get a chance to get organization. I like a huddle. I like a huddle an awful lot. I don't like the no-huddle offense.
You get a good look at the fans who have made their way over to support the Huskies today, and right now it's a tie game, 13-13. 3 seconds left. Haldi rolling to his right, waiting for his guys to run into the end zone. Lets it fly. Sheldon's behind everybody, and it is caught in the end zone. Touchdown, Northern Illinois. That's why you call the timeout. That's why you run the play. Chatone Powers pulls it in, his 4th touchdown of the year.
Was that Haldi or was that Flutie? My goodness, what a play. What a play. Jeff Jenick on the sideline shaking his head says, hey, look, we have to be able to defend that. What a great job. Hey, he's got all the time in the world, shows great arm strength, puts a lot of air under the football, and now it's just who has the most desire to come down with the ball. Woo! Wonderful job.
And that was a clean catch, too. A lot of times you see that play, the ball starts bouncing around. And, of course, this is an untimed play, so they'll get a chance to try the extra point. And that is up and good. So Northern Illinois, after seeing momentum go back and forth in this game, mainly to whatever team had the ball, the Huskies come up with a huge play because, remember, they deferred their choice, and it's likely they'll get the ball to come back and start the second half of action. Powers with the catch. Northern Illinois leads it 20-13. And Joe Novak has to be happy about that.
Joe Novak said, that's just the way I drew this up. But you do practice this. There's no question. They've got a guy in front. They've got a guy in the back. They've got a guy on the side. Say, well, you don't practice this play? No, you practice this play. You work on that play. You've got it all covered, kind of like a triangle. Guy in the back, 2 guys on the side, and the guy in the middle. Hey, somebody comes up with the football. That's all desire right there.
Let's go down to the sidelines to Brad Hoy. Brad?
Coach Novak, your gamble on 4th down there with about a minute to play paid off with the big play right before the half.
Yeah, it was a big one. We needed that. We're not playing very well. Eastern Michigan's playing great, so we got a dogfight.
You know, the defense played very well in the first half of play. You got the 3 takeaways, but give Eastern credit. They're playing awfully good and doing a good job offensively.
They're holding us to field goals or missed field goals. We got to score touchdowns. We're doing a good job.
Okay, Coach, good luck in the second half. Head coach Joe Novak back up to Jim Nabob.
All right, Brad, thank you very much. So Northern Illinois breaks the tie on the final play of the half. Northern Illinois trying to win to give themselves a chance at ending up in the MAC title game. They lead Eastern Michigan 20-13 at the half. the Big Ten assured of going to a bowl if it's 6-5. So what happens is you get a team in a big conference that might be disappointed and not necessarily even want to go travel over New Year's Day.
I mean, Lloyd Carr, all across the country. Urban Meyer coached at Bowling Green. Now he's at Utah doing great things. This is a great, great conference, and it needs to gain the respect of the country and gain the respect of those people who make the decisions about bowl games.
And from a fan standpoint, I never felt that I needed a national champion determined through a playoff system. What I used to love is sitting down on New Year's Day and watching the games play themselves out, and by the end of the night, you had a team that you know, were going to vote the national champion. I think what college football has given up, college football used to own New Year's Day. That was the one day when college football was definitely going to be a king no matter what was going on. And that has been lost because now you have a national championship game coming up a few days later, and it used to be one of the high points of my year, sitting down on New Year's and watching 2, 3, 4 bowl games and seeing how everything played out. Now you've lost that, and I think you're seeing that in the TV ratings for the bowl games, and you're seeing it a lot in the attendance because, let's face it, bowl games exist to fill up hotel rooms at a slow time of year in the travel industry between Christmas and New Year. So to me, the system where you're inviting teams that are excited about coming and their fans are willing to buy tickets, willing to travel, is better than a system where you know that you're going to get the 7th best team out of a power conference. There are the standings in the MAC West for Northern Illinois. They win today. They wait to see what happens between Toledo and Bowling Green.
Anybody selecting for a bowl game should have been in DeKalb last Tuesday. I know Toledo won the football game and all that, but that was as exciting a collegiate atmosphere as you'll find any place.
Northern Illinois will receive to start the second half. Hickenbottom about 2 yards deep in his end zone, and he will bring it out. Has some blocking in front of him, tries to turn to his right, and then just, well, he's got about 3 or 4 green shirts on top of him. He's driven back to the 22-yard line, or make that the 18-yard line, and that's where Northern Illinois will open up 1st and 10. So now this may be the time where we see Northern Illinois really start to lock it down and say, all right, let's line up, let's run the football. Garrett Wolf is over 100 yards. Josh Haldi has made throws when he has had to, and he has been very efficient.
I would have liked to see Hickenbottom take a knee in the end zone there. The bottom of the letters in any stadium.
Tell me
the bottom of the letters in any stadium is about 3 yards deep, and that's usually the marking point. Anything there or behind it, take a knee.
And before I heard you say that in the Ball State game, I did not know that. Going deep for Dan Sheldon, first play. Sheldon playing defensive back, tips it away from Chris Roberson and prevents an interception. So Sheldon still without a catch, but does he get a pass defended on that one? Because that's exactly what he did.
Well, in this situation right here, 1st and 10, ball's on the 20-yard line, middle of the field. I want to come out and have an identity. I want to run the football. Now you're 2nd and 10. I want to challenge the offensive line. You make a good point here. If you're not going to catch the football, make sure someone else doesn't catch it. That was very close to offensive pass interference.
2nd and 10 for Northern. Garrett Wolf gets the carry, picks up 10. And it's pretty simple. If he gets the ball out of the 30-yard line, he should have the 1st down. It looks like he does.
Good push again up front. Very good push up front. I mean, Coach Holtz used to talk about a hat on a hat. If you can get a hat on a hat, it gives that running back a chance to get into some plus yardage.
So Northern Illinois, in spite of the incompletion on 1st down, now has it the way they wanted it. Grinding out 1st downs. Garrett Wolf, 130 yards on the day so far, and has a touchdown. And Northern Illinois now lining up with the formation. Here come all the pulling guards and tackles and centers, and Wolf is out to the right, and he's in the clear. Wolf across the 50. He's down the sideline, skips past the last man, stays on his feet. He will go into the end zone. Touchdown, Northern Illinois. Wolf's 2nd of the day, 70 yards on the touchdown.
Hello. That's what I wanted to see. Establish that running game. Take the ball downfield. Garrett Wolf didn't play in the Toledo game, but this is his 7th in a row of 100 yards or more. Incredible. This young guy's a fine back. You mentioned the offensive lineman. Look at him out there, turning back, adjusting. Wolf turns up. Again, great block by the wide receiver out there, Hurd. Unbelievable. That's what causes the ball to go to the end zone. Those blocks by those wide receivers.
Extra point is up, and it is good. So Northern Illinois, in their last 4 plays from scrimmage, have scored 2 touchdowns. Garrett Wolf, 200 yards in the day.
Last
last week on Comcast Sportsnet. If you just got the scores, you didn't get the whole picture.
7-13, and Bob, this is a matter of Garrett Wolf getting by the first couple of guys, and then it's a sprint to the end zone.
Oh, my goodness. McGahee, Verstrade, Cieslak, all these guys with a big push. But, hey, take nothing away from this young man. He is a fine back. He is one of the premier backs in this conference, and he's got a lot of football to play in DeKalb yet.
Now, one of the most amazing things about that play was seeing 6'2", 241-pound defensive end Olivier Gagnon-Gordillo, a lineman, chasing him down the field. He was the last guy with a shot.
Now, that's again, you know, I mentioned the guys in the NFL. That's what they want to see big guys do. Never give up. You want to see these big defensive guys that can run downfield. That scores a lot of points for him. Not to say that's the most important thing, but it's a nice opportunity for a young guy.
So Northern will kick off into the wind. This will be Riley at his own 10-yard line. Has the return set to the left, but can't get outside. Pulled down from behind as he tried to get into the open by Marlon Watson.
Marlon Watson said, I'm wearing number 41. I think Clarence Vaughn wore that number one time, and I'm going to make this play. Good special teams play right there. But you know what? That run there by Wolf, when you see that run, that gets everybody going. The special teams are better. The defense is better. Everything. I mean, the attitude changes. That's why I like running that football. And this guy, Wolf, he's a threat every time.
Let's go down to Brad Hoy. Brad?
That mine right there, Garrett Wolf, the man of the moment with that touchdown. Garrett Wolf ties the NIU mark for touchdowns in a season at 20. He holds that mark with Michael Turner, now of the San Diego Chargers. So he's in pretty good company. With one more touchdown, he'll set a new record.
All right, Brad, thank you very much. On first down, Eastern Michigan will pick up another first down. And the defense for Northern Illinois, well, they have a little bit of house money to play with right now with a 14-point lead, 2-touchdown lead.
They have a little what?
House money.
What's house money?
Well, you don't have the pressure of trying to guard a 1-touchdown lead. You can play predominantly concentrating on the pass more so, I think.
I'm going to write that one down. That's another thing to take back home.
There you go. See, you taught me about the numbers in the end zone, and I taught you about house money. Bonet rolls out to the right, gets smacked as he lets it go. He just threw it out of bounds because Brian Atkinson was bringing the heat. And now, one thing you're starting to see with Northern Illinois is they are starting to generate just a little bit of heat of Bonet. They still don't have a sack, but now they're starting to get some people in Bonet's face and making him throw it before he really wants to.
Don't kid yourself. These are the offensive line from Eastern Michigan. When I talk about not going in a huddle, this starts to wear on the big guys later in the game.
2nd down and 10 from the 29-yard line. They have 3rd and 24 on the scoreboard. I don't know where that came from. Trust me, it's 2nd down and 10. Bonet looks to his left, delivers, and it is picked off. Adriel Hansbrough saw that thing coming the whole way. It was a slant pattern in which Hansbrough got inside position. 4th turnover of the game. 3rd interception for the Northern Illinois defense.
And watch this play. Steve Bernstein, the secondary coach for Northern Illinois, when he goes through a clinic, he's going to say, this is how you defend the quick slant. This is textbook. Physical, good feet, right position, everything. Wonderful, wonderful job there by Hansbrough. Steve Bernstein, hey, good job of teaching that guy that play. That's great stuff right there.
That was marvelous stuff.
That's textbook. That's textbook right there.
Dan Sheldon is out to the left. Wolf is in the backfield. 1st down and 10 from the Eastern Michigan 35. Haldi gives to Wolf. He has the convoy in front of him, but he's hit right as he starts to make his cut upfield. The tackle was made by Tyler Griffin. Wolf with a gain of about 2 on the play, bringing up 2nd down and 8.
They seem to like to attack the left side of Eastern Michigan's defensive line. Maybe get a little something going one way and then come back the other way with Wolf in the end zone. A little counterplay with Wolf.
Well, let's see if Northern Illinois sticks to the ground game, which is really starting to churn up some yards now. Garrett Wolf at 2:02 for the game. Haldi, little play fake, rolls to his left. He can run this thing for miles. Instead, he'll set up and throw. Goes into the end zone, throws it into a crowd, and it's knocked down at the goal line.
Basically, what you saw right there was a little bit of a, you saw that boot play because, they challenged the left side of Eastern Michigan's defensive line. Haldi comes out the other way. Haldi, don't throw that ball, though. Run it. You're a big guy. Once you get past the line of scrimmage, you're a fullback. I don't like throwing that football up into that kind of traffic. Too much going on right now. Too many positive things to have a negative occur.
So Northern Illinois now with 3rd down and 8 from the Eastern Michigan 33-yard line. Powers is in the slot to the left. Hurd is out there as well. Handoff. Garrett Wolf over the 30. He has room. He will have a... Well, it's going to be close. He's very close to a first down. And we'll wait for the signal. Tomorrow I'll get a complete recap of the Bears-Colts showdown on U.S. Cellular Bears Postgame Live. Dan Jiggets, Marv Levy, Dave Duerson, and Chris Sorge recap all the action and bring you live interviews with players as they leave the locker room. U.S. Cellular Bears Postgame Live tomorrow, immediately after the Bears game on Comcast Sportsnet.
You had a chance to meet Marcus Mosley, the wide receiver coach for Northern Illinois, an impressive young man. He's doing a great job of teaching these wide receivers to block. Success of that play goes to Sam Hurd, number 84, wide receiver, who came back inside and really did a great job of blocking.
Here comes Wolf again, being patient, waiting for his blocks over the 20, and then he carries a man out of bounds with him at the 16-yard line. It's going to be 2nd down and 1 for Northern.
Well, Hurd's making me look good. That last play right there, you know, when he blocked right to the whistle, hands inside, and when you keep the hands inside, you're not going to get caught for holding. Hands inside, he keeps his feet going. And that gives Wolf just a little bit more of a push. I'm impressed with the blocking of this wide receiver. My hat's off to Marcus Mosley, just wide receiver coach from Northern Illinois.
Northern starting to dominate the line of scrimmage here in the 3rd quarter. Haldi, draw play. This is Garrett Wolf, has blocking in front of him. He's inside the 10, down the sideline, inside the 5. It will be 1st and goal for Northern Illinois as they try and build on a 27-13 lead.
How about my friend Doug Free there, that left tackle, 6'6", 290 pounds out there leading the play. I am still, and I don't want to become redundant, I'm still amazed at the way this offensive line plays. I mean, Doug Free, and he's only a sophomore. Bam! You don't need to get all the guy. Just get a little bit of him and let the back make the cut off of the block.
Garrett Wolf trying to set a Northern Illinois school record. If he can get into the end zone here, that would give him 21. That would break the record held by Michael Turner. Haldi rolls out, stops back, throws the other way. Touchdown, Northern Illinois. Brad Cieslak hauls it in for the score, his 3rd touchdown of the year, and Northern Illinois is starting to dominate this game.
Well, what you saw there was great faking by Josh Haldi and the entire offensive football team for Northern Illinois, getting that entire defense moving in one direction and throwing the football back. Cieslak, good actor inside, faded into a block, faked the block, and then came outside. Good patience. Don't take that play for granted. That was a well-executed play.
33-14 Northern, or 33-13 Northern Illinois. They try and tack on the extra point. And think of it this way. With 3 seconds remaining in the first half, this game was tied 13-13. Northern Illinois starting to roll here in Ysiplanti, Michigan, as they lead by 3 scores. In his 3rd touchdown catch of the season, and Northern Illinois has scored 3 touchdowns in the last 3 minutes and 11 seconds of play in this game. Touchdown at the end of the half, 70-yard run by Wolf, and then after a turnover, they take it into the end zone again.
Cieslak sitting on a sideline there had a little bit of a Ditka-esque look to him.
Yes.
Telling his buddies what a tough catch that was.
The Mike Ditka as a player look. And that kick will be taken at about the 22-yard line, and it's not going to go any further than that, as Tyler Griffin was taken down and taken down hard. And now, you talk about your house money, Bob. This Northern defense has a lead to work with, and now they can really make life miserable for Matt Bonet. But keep in mind, this Eastern Michigan offense can score a lot of points and score them in a hurry. As a matter of fact, they had 61 3 weeks ago, and granted, it was a 4 overtime game, but they had 61 points against Central Michigan.
I looked at Denny Dornbos on the sideline there. You know what he told the defensive lineman, defensive coordinator? Hey, look, we got some house money. Get your leg back and let's rush the passer.
Yeah, they have to make life miserable for Bonet. Delorier is by himself out to the right, and instead this will be a try and keep him honest running play as Sherrell runs it up the middle and is going to get nowhere. Atkinson, Lee, the usual suspects into the tackle.
Good push up there by Northern's defense in front. Again, as you mentioned before, they have the advantage now, basically just getting a leg, when I say get a leg back, getting that sprinter stance and just come like all heck and rush the passer. That's a huge advantage. And the reason why, 34-13, 11:21 left in the 3rd quarter.
Sherrell just came out of the lineup. Does not look like he is injured, but we do have 5 receivers in the game for Eastern Michigan. And this is one way Eastern Michigan is going to try and slow down the Northern pass rushers, is by putting people out there they have to cover. Four-man rush. Pass, that's complete. Chris Talley, his first reception of the day, and after getting hit a couple of yards short of the first down, he'll take it out to the 42-yard line. Where do you go for everything NIU? Next time, go where people in the know go. Log into NIUHuskies.com, the official site of Northern Illinois Athletics.
One thing I like about the Northern Illinois secondary right there, they kept that wide receiver in a cuff. They had a guy in front of him, one guy to his left, one guy to his right. He was not going to get outside the framework of the defense.
Triplets to the right, slot left. Delorier is out wide to the left. Bonet swings it out, Delorier, and that throw is behind him. And that's what happens when you do start to at least get in the face of a quarterback. That's a throw you're usually going to see Bonet complete.
Bonet is starting to press just a little bit here, and it doesn't surprise me, because now Northern Illinois is starting to get pressure on him. He feels that, you know, no mistake about it, I've got to make something happen. And when that happens with a quarterback, usually something bad happens.
And that's what Joe Novak had said that Josh Haldi was a little bit guilty of in the Toledo game. 2nd down and 10. Four-man rush again for Northern. Bonet steps up in the pocket, has a man over the middle, and laying out to try and make the catch was Tremaine Riley, but he just could not hang on. Now, Bonet, when he wanted his brother to actually play quarterback this year. That was his plan, was to be a receiver this year and have his brother Ken be the quarterback, but of course the coaches looked at him and said, you know what, you're the best quarterback we had. You're playing quarterback.
That was a well-thrown ball. A little bit, when I talk to wide receivers, don't lay out until you have to. Run up underneath the football. From the defensive standpoint, in this situation, Brian Atkinson's got to take a little bit of a deeper drop, especially with that cover 2 that we're seeing from Northern Illinois.
3rd down and 10. Bonet back to throw, and there was a little bit of confusion on the right. Delorier went inside, the throw went outside. The result is an incompletion. And now we may finally get to see Dan Sheldon try and get his 5 yards on a punt return. That would give him 1,000 yards in punt returns for his career. He would be only the 3rd MAC player ever to accomplish that, but he hasn't been able to get on the field for a punt return until now.
Young guy, he is definitely a threat. Talk about a guy, we evaluate football players, guys with quick feet. This guy's got quick feet. He's not only fast, but he has quick feet, and there is a difference.
Wellock, who also punts a low line drive, and Sheldon says, everybody get away from this, so Sheldon will have to wait for another opportunity because it will not come here, and the ball will roll dead at the 13-yard line, but Northern has shown the ability in this game to drive it and drive it a long way, as they did on the opening series of this half. Let's go downstairs to Brad Hoy. Brad?
Well, Jim and Bob, we're seeing the Northern offensive line establish the line of scrimmage, but they're doing it with some depleted numbers. Starting left guard Ben Luke is out of the game. He didn't even suit up today. His backup, Jake Ibenach, went out in the 2nd quarter with back problem, and then Jake Ebenach's backup, Matt Rogers, just went out with a shoulder problem. The last 2 series here in the 2nd half, they've gone with Brian Van Acker moving over from center to left guard, and George Douglas has taken over the center position. So the Huskies moving the football despite some depleted numbers on the offensive line.
Yeah, Brad, they're doing a marvelous job up front. They do it again as Garrett Wolf picks up 7 yards on 1st down. And right now for Northern Illinois, move the chains, move the ball, keep the clock running, because they have definitely established the upper hand in this game, and which sounds kind of strange to say based on what we saw in the first half, Bob, that with 10 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter, we're saying, wow, Northern has really taken control of this thing, but they have.
Well, they're back in their personality. They're back in doing things that have got them to where they're at in the conference, and that's what I like to see.
Garrett Wolf picks up another 1st down. Kevin Harrison comes over and makes the tackle. And Garrett Wolf now has 4 200-yard rushing games in his career. He's 1 behind LaShawn Johnson. He's 3 behind Michael Turner. And being a sophomore, I would think it's a pretty safe call that Garrett Wolf will be the all-time leader in 200-yard rushing games by the time he's done.
Well, certainly a young guy, but I'm really high on this kid. I had a chance to meet him. You know, I talked to him a little bit. A very impressive young man off the field also.
This is A.J. Harris getting his number called, and he delivers. He picks up a 1st down out to the 39-yard line. And another thing you're starting to see here is Chris Roberson makes the tackle. You are seeing the tackles being made by people in the secondary on the running game, and that is a good sign for Eastern Michigan.
You know, we see North Northern Illinois here. Nice lateral seam, good pad level by Harris and all that. But you know, one of the things I want to say, luxury. What luxury is to an offensive side of football is when you have depth in the offensive line, and Northern Illinois is exhibiting that today.
And depth at running back. This is what we saw in that carry by A.J. Harris, who will get the carry again here on 1st and 10. Waits for the blocks to clear. He'll have a first down. He's across midfield all the way to the 47-yard line of Eastern Michigan before he was dragged out by Jerry Gaines.
Another big block there by number 62 to left tackle, Doug Free, 6'6", 290-pound sophomore. This young guy here, when I talk about blocking in space, I'm talking about blocking when it's just you and a defensive back, or you and a linebacker. And that's what you see right there. He does a great job because he adjusts. He keeps his feet moving, and he keeps his hands inside.
Sam Hurd comes out to the right. Harris stays in the game. Harris gets the call again, and he has plenty of room. He's over the 40 to the 39, and now the chunks of yardage are coming. 5, 6, 7 big carries. Steve Bednarik makes the tackle.
You know, John McKay was probably one of the finest college football coaches of all time at the University of Southern California, and he really believed when the running game was going, when a running back got into a rhythm, the farther into the game he went, the better he played. We're seeing that, but from the other side of the coin, when the offensive linemen start to establish the ability to block whatever front they see, that's the result of what you're seeing here right now.
Haldi rolls and just gets smacked as he turns and wanted to go upfield. Matt Lisek making the tackle on that play. He's Lisek, for those of you on the south suburbs, near south side, may remember him. He played at Richards High School. John McKay also responsible for the greatest quote in the history of football when he was coaching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Was asked about his team's execution and said, "I'm in favor of it."
Hey, you mentioned Richards High School. Gary Corhonen, one of the fine high school football coaches. I mean, what a wonderful, wonderful guy, and a great educator. Richards High School, Gary Corhonen.
Haldi rolls out, dumps it off. Cieslak taken down, but did pick up about 4 on the play. So for Northern Illinois, it's going to be 3rd down, and we're going to call it 4 from the 41-yard line. Husky fans, basketball season is here. NIU has a fantastic campaign coming up at the beautiful new Convocation Center in DeKalb. Thursday, or I should say Wednesday, cram the Convo night. Huskies against Southwest Missouri State. All tickets just $1. You can't beat that. Then state rival Bradley comes into town on December 1st for 7 o'clock tip-off. Then Saturday, December 4th, Family Day. Get 4 tickets for $20 as the Huskies take on Akron. 4th down coming up for Northern. A.J. Harris. 1st down for Northern Illinois, down to the 31-yard line. And the Huskies right now are just lining it up, saying, we're going to run it right at you. What can you do to stop us? And the answer for Eastern so far has been not much.
We're really wearing down Eastern Michigan's defense. I mean, just the body language right here by the defensive players from Eastern Michigan tells you they're tired. Look at that push up front. Look at that pad level. You know, one of the things about a running back, when he gets to linebacker depth, there's not a lead blocker in front of him. A good running back will become his own blocker. He lowers the shoulder, gives that pow, and then makes a break off the tackle.
An impressive drive by the Huskies. Garrett Wolf back into the game. Garrett Wolf into the secondary for Eastern Michigan. He will have a 1st down at the 19-yard line.
Talk about momentum and rhythm. Woo! Hey, you know, you talked about that Convocation Center in DeKalb. Have you seen that? That is something very special. Look at this run. Look at his feet. They never stop. Look at jumping over people's legs, cutting to the outside. Hey, you see that hand on the ball? That's a lot of strength to hold that football. But that's being taught. There's 2 pressure points on a football when you carry it. The front part, the back part that goes to your bicep, and then stick as much inside of that football as you can onto your ribs and squeeze.
1st and 10 from the 19. Here comes Garrett Wolf again. Nothing there, so he just puts his head down and says, you know what, I'll just take the yard that I know I can find there. You know what, if you can't hit Garrett Wolf the first time, if you're Rontel Woodruff, just grab his foot and try and pull him backwards.
Well, you know, getting back to ball security, okay, he holds the football a little bit high. Tiki Barber does that. But at the same time, he can support the football in the 3 most important parts, as I said before. The tip of the football in the palm of your hand, the back end of the football in your bicep, and the side of the football on as much of your shirt as you can get it.
And if Tiki Barber and Garrett Wolf, guys like that, continue to have success like that, we'll see more and more guys carry like that. Wolf that time turned back by Kudu at the line of scrimmage, So it's going to bring up 3rd down and 10 for Northern. And this drive has eaten a lot of clock, it's eaten a lot of yardage, and it has made Eastern Michigan just back up all the way down the field.
So, you know, in the old days, I shouldn't even say the old days. Hey, Eastern, get your guys in a huddle. Get them regrouped. Everybody's over here looking, hey, do I have the call? Don't I have the call? Now the linebacker has to make the call. That's why I like that. Give the guys give them a chance to regroup and come back out.
The umbrellas start to pop out again here in Ysiplanti. The drizzle starts to fall. Haldi is in trouble, and he will go down. Sacked back at the 25-yard line, and a flag goes up. Let's wait and see what the call is on this one, because this could be a critical call if it goes against Eastern Michigan and produces a 1st down for Northern Illinois. Personal foul on Northern, so they'll back him up 15. So that will, because it will take the win, it'll likely take Northern out of field goal range, so who knows, maybe they go to the Hail Mary again.
After the play was over, dead ball, personal foul, 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, 4th down.
That will take the ball all the way back to the Eastern Michigan 40-yard line.
Joe Novak is asked, I think he has the offender right there. I think he knew who it was because the official didn't call him out. It was number 80.
Pat Raleigh getting an earful from the coach, because that's what it does. It takes Northern out of field goal range.
I like Joe Novak going over there that way. I like Joe Novak's demeanor on the sideline an awful lot.
Tremaine Riley standing back at his 10-yard line and awaiting the punt of Gallagher. He's really going to have to drive this thing. He's into a pretty stiff wind, and that's a good kick into the wind. He will down the football at the 3-yard line. So Northern Illinois backs up Eastern. Jimmy Toussaint making the play. Joe Novak steaming, but his team leading by 3 touchdowns.
Hi, I'm Craig Culver.
So you just start working the math here. So Eastern Michigan has to have points on this drive. Bonet will hand off to Sherrill to get things started. He's to the outside and then taken out of bounds at the 10-yard line.
You know, some of these guys on defense, they saw Coach Novak on the sideline look at Toussaint when he ran off the field, and they're saying, hey, look, I don't want him to look at me like that. We got to get a stop here, fellas.
We were talking during the break as Joe Novak was over there getting the attention of his players. I think that was we may be up 3 touchdowns, but this game, as far as I know, I look at that clock and there's still time on it, so everybody still better be going hard and going smart. 2nd down and 5. Sherrill again, as Eastern Michigan here just trying to punch it out from the shadow of their own goalpost and give themselves some room to work with. Northern Illinois at the moment, 4,811 yards of total offense this season. That is a new school record, which just blows away the old school record. And let's look at it this way. If they win this game, it's very likely they could have 2 more football games. They may put that record pretty well out of reach.
4,811 yards.
And the amazing part is the overwhelming majority of that on the ground. And that makes it even more impressive. 3rd down and short. And it does not look like Sherrill got there for the 1st down. The official comes in to mark it right at the 20-yard line, which, if that's the case, it will be just enough for a 1st.
You know, you talk about running the football, and that's my background. I coached for Bo Schembechler. I coached for Lee Corso. I coached for Lou Holtz. I was very fortunate, so I'm basically from a running standpoint. But in this day and age, what is critically important, I think Northern Illinois stats would show that there still has to be some semblance of balance.
Right. Yeah. The thing that I feel you have to do, you have to be able to run it, and then your quarterback just has to be able to complete a half dozen big plays a game. Delorier on the reverse, comes across the 20, across the 25. He will be close to another 1st down, because I see it all the time, Bob, in high school football. You see these teams that either can wing it all over the lot, or they can run the ball down people's throats. But if you don't have the ability to do the other part of it, you get yourself in situations where you're in trouble. Northern over 300 rushing for the game. And I always use the example back in the 80s of when every year Oklahoma would play Miami. Oklahoma was fine as long as they had the lead, but when they fell behind and couldn't at least throw it to move the chains a little bit, then you're in trouble. You have to have that balance.
Indeed, and football's cyclical. I don't think there's any question. The advent of the wishbone, now we see the West Coast offense. And
Bonet throws it over the middle and completes a pass to Bennett, but Northern Illinois right now just wants to keep everything in front of them.
You know, you talk about that West Coast offense. If somebody knows exactly what it is, please send me a note someplace. I mean, this is the West Coast offense. That's the West Coast offense. I just read something by Bill Walsh the other day that he thinks the West Coast offense is obsolete.
Yeah, but you know, it all gets down to this. When you get a lead, you have to be able to run the football and shorten the game. Whether you get the lead by passing it or by running it, the fact of the matter is you control the game and you win by running the football. 2nd down and 5 from their own 33 with 2 minutes and change remaining in the 3rd quarter. Sherrill on the draw play, close to a 1st down as he takes it out to the 40-yard line. He will have a 1st down, and the helmet's starting to fly, and it's starting to get a little bit rough down there in Northern Illinois, as we know. Already one personal foul in this half that proved costly.
This is a situation where the older guys on the field have to talk to the younger guys. Hey, look, you know, look at that scoreboard. It's 34-13. You know, we don't need foolish penalties. We need to not only take this victory, but take this victory to our, to our next game and our next game, hopefully. Senior leadership. Can't win without it.
1st down and 10 from the 40. Bonet in the shotgun. 4 wides in the game. Drops back to pass. A little bit of pressure, has to throw on the run, and what a strike. Finds Delorier at the 45-yard line of Northern Illinois.
What Delorier shows us here is his ability to find the soft spot in the zone. What I mean by that, you want to get yourself against the zone coverage equidistant between 2 defenders and then just sit in there. And sometimes that's really hard to teach a young wide receiver. But he did it. He was right between those 2 defenders, and he sat in there just for a second, just enough for Bonet to get him to football.
This is a spot where Joe Novak wants to see his defense put the hammer down, because this is a similar situation to the Central Florida game where they allowed Central Florida to get back in it. A game Northern did eventually win. Bonet throws it behind his intended target. He was trying to get it to Chris Talley, who has 1 reception so far today. Monday night, Kirk Heinrich and the Bulls continue their road show with a trip to the desert for a showdown against Steve Nash and the Phoenix Suns. Then after the game, stick around for Bulls post-game live. Bulls Suns, Monday night at 8, right here on Comcast Sportsnet. We have the tuba players not doing much tuba-ing right now. You know what? The Eastern Michigan band, a lot of Led Zeppelin tunes at halftime. I never thought I'd see the day when Zeppelin became a halftime staple. Bonet over the middle, and a big hit after the reception. A licking put on by Brian Atkinson.
I'm a bit surprised that Northern Illinois has continued with a basic 4-man rush in zone coverage. Which leads me to believe that this is a big hit. Big hit. Because you know why? Not only did he hit through him. That's what you have to teach the young guys. Don't hit to the ball carrier. Hit through the ball carrier. Tackle him as though he were 3 yards behind where he's actually at.
5 wides in on 3rd down and 6. Bonet steps up, delivers the ball. That's going to be a 1st down, all the way down to the 27-yard line. Bonet had time to step up, figure out exactly where he wanted to go with it. He delivers a strike into the hands of Chris Talley.
Bonet has great presence in the pocket. One of the things, when you start to do the twisting and turning a little bit that Northern's doing right now, when you create a natural lateral seam because of the twist and the turns, you give Bonet vision, and you give this guy a little bit of a chance, just a little peek, single. He's going to put the ball where it needs to be.
22 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. 1st down and 10 for Eastern Michigan. Bonet pump fakes and then just had to get rid of it. I'm willing to bet that there was a confusion on the route.
Well, you know what happens is as a wide receiver and a quarterback start to play it a little bit more together, they almost don't have to call a play. They can look at the secondary and pretty much tell what type of route that the wide receiver is going to run, whether it's going to be adjustment or if the wide receiver squats, in other words, sits, he's going to go by him. If there's too much cushion, he's going to pull up. That communication becomes mental.
Delorier goes out to the right. 2nd and 10. Handoff to Sherrill. He'll run right up the middle. He has all sorts of room. He's across the 20. Makes a move to the outside, down to the 15-yard line where Adriel Hansbrough pulled him down. 6 seconds remaining in the quarter. A 1st down for Eastern Michigan.
Probably the best series that Eastern Michigan's having right now as far as mixing things up. Good job by their offensive coordinator. Howard Fagans of mixing up these plays. This is probably the best play sequence that he's called all day.
Well, one thing that needs to be brought up, too, is the fact that Northern Illinois, in spite of the fact they're ahead by 3 touchdowns, one thing that is a little bit of a negative in this game is the amount of injuries they've had. They've lost some linemen. Rob Lee has not played since the first quarter. And Northern Illinois right now leading by 3 touchdowns, but Eastern Michigan on the march as we head for the 4th. Northern leads at 34-13. The 4th, Northern fans starting to check travel and hotel room availability for maybe Detroit, maybe San Francisco. Well, the young ones all have to stay home. They got to be home for Santa to get there. If you're not home, Santa doesn't show up. At least that's what I understand. 1st down and 10 for Eastern Michigan on the Northern 15-yard line. Eastern trying to stay in the game. They need a score. Into the end zone, knocked down. Another fine defensive play coming off the corner by Adriel Hansbrough.
You think that lady was making some checking accommodations for a bowl trip?
That's exactly what I think she was doing.
And I think she should be doing it too. And I think Northern Illinois and Jim Phillips, that whole operation over there, they deserve to go to a bowl game. Good defensive play here, just laying out for the football. Great desire. That's one of those deals who wants it more.
See, it's taking a little while. You got to make 3 phone calls. All right.
Well, the travel agent's trying to decide what bowl they're going to go to.
Step out right now, Coach, and tell me, do you use 4 downs here if you have to try and get a touchdown, or do you take a field goal if you don't get in?
4 downs. I'm going to use 4 downs in this situation. You need a touchdown.
Bonet back to throw, looks into the corner of the end zone. Delorier just got hung up, and I mean hung up, as he went around the corner. Alva Hansbrough. Well, it's not illegal if you don't get caught, right, Coach?
Well, Delorier didn't give Bonet enough room to operate there. He was too close to the sideline with that fade route. You have to give that quarterback a yard and a half, 2-3 yards to drop that football in there. You can't be pressed against that end marker and expect that ball to be thrown that way.
Yeah, let's give Alva credit, though. He knew where the route was going, and he made it a little harder for Delorier to get where he wanted to go. 3rd down and 10. 3 receivers out to the right side. Sherrill was the running back. Bonet back to throw. Everybody covered downfield, trying to buy himself some time. That ball is dropped in the end zone, and there's a flag down at the 18-yard line, and it was back where all the offensive linemen were.
Could be looking a hole. Yes, we are. We're going to see a holding penalty here.
Well, if you don't take the play, you bring up 4th down.
Interesting. This will be a very, very interesting call here. Jeff Jenick on the sideline said, I can't believe that call. None of my guys would ever reach out and hold somebody.
Offensive linemen, as we know, never hold.
Never.
Holding, number 75 offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Repeat 3rd down.
So Joe Novak decides to back up the Eastern Michigan offense.
Shows a little respect for Eastern Michigan. Now, right, let me tell you about offensive line play. There's a holding basically going on almost on every offensive series. But the key to it is to keep your hands inside. If your hands are inside the framework of the defender's body, you're not going to get called. But when they get outside on the framework of the defender's body and you're reaching or you're up in the shoulder pads or this or that, that's when you're going to have a problem.
So now the ball rests on the 25-yard line. 3rd down, 20. Northern trying to stop Eastern Michigan. You would think they would go for it on 4th down. Bonet about to get crushed. Gets rid of it. Picked off. 4th interception of the day for the Northern Illinois defense. Jason Hawkins coming up with a pick.
Pressure. Forced Bonet to throw the football. Hawkins, nice job of being in his perfect position in the zone and reading the eyes of Bonet.
If, and I said this earlier, if 4 turnovers is the magic number, 5 is pretty much a guarantee.
Now, here's what you do. Now, he's looking at his eyes. Now, when he takes his hand off the football, he breaks to the area. What you teach those defenders is you fade on the eyes of the quarterback. In other words, he's looking that way, start moving over there slowly. When he brings his non-throwing hand off the football, that's when you start to make the break.
And Bob told us earlier that offensive linemen love to run block. Well, guess what they're going to get to do now, because Northern Illinois 3-touchdown lead, 14:32 left. Garrett Wolf in the game. Gets a pitch. He has to beat a guy one-on-one. He has all sorts of room. Flags go down all over the place as Wolf is taken down at the 49-yard line of Eastern Michigan.
We are going to have a holding on number 83 Powers here. I do not fault his effort, however. I do not fault his effort. I like those wide receivers that go downfield and block.
That play was so well set up because there was a hat, as you like to say, on every Eastern Michigan defender, and Wolf just had to just not run into anybody.
There it is right there. He should have let him, if he'd have let him go.
Offense, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat, first down.
But that's exactly what you had talked about 2 plays ago. You could see that Chaton Powers had his hand on the back of the cornerback's shirt, and that's why he got called.
Marcus Mosley saying, you know, Powers, we don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Because you know why? Tomorrow morning in the meeting, Coach Novak and I are going to be real happy with me. I've been down that street now. I like this Marcus Mosley. He recruits for them down in Florida. What a classy young guy. He's got a great future in this profession.
First down and 17 after the penalty. More of Garrett Wolf. Goes up the middle, he has some room. He's into the secondary, and Garrett Wolf gets out to the 39-yard line before he's taken down by Jerry Gaines.
What just a great block by the backup tight end Jake Nordine on this play, on a counter play. Some people use a tackle to bring the across the football that way. Jake Nordine, bammo. He hits that defensive end, causes that seam. Garrett takes the seam. Well-timed, well-executed play.
That was a gain of 14, so now second down and 3. Dan Sheldon still without a catch in the game, and he's out wide to the right. Garrett Wolf, here he comes again, and he will have a first down as he carries the ball out to the 49-yard line. Moving the chains again. We'll get a temporary stop of the clock, and then it'll start rolling again, which is what Northern Illinois wants to see now. Kevin Harrison making the tackle.
You know, Jim, there's a term we use with offensive linemen. That's called finishers. Some guys will come off the football, bam, and they strike, and they do a good job. Finishers are offensive linemen that come off the football, bam, strike, keep their feet going, and they don't stop until the whistle blows. Be a finisher if you're an offensive lineman.
Clock rolling, 13-15 remaining in the fourth quarter. Garrett Wolf gets the pitch. This is the same play we saw a moment ago to the other side. Wolf gets to the outside, driven out of bounds, right at the 46-yard line. So it appears that Wolf will be short by just a yard. So gain of 9 in the play, 2nd and 1 coming up.
You know, Dan Sheldon, again, wide receiver who was blocked. You know, you see one wide receiver make a block here, maybe the same guys doing it. But when you see across the board, the Husky wide receivers all are good blockers, you achieve in football what you emphasize. I have to believe Marcus Mosley spends a lot of time with his wide receivers in blocking in practice because it's evident they know exactly what to do.
Show me a receiver or a running back who's piling up yards like Garrett Wolf is, and I'll show you wide receivers that block. This is A.J. Harris in the game again. So basically what's happening now is it's usually about 2 sets of downs for Wolf, then bring in A.J. Harris and just keep hammering on this Eastern Michigan defense. That's another first down for Northern.
Again, I like to see A.J. Harris in this situation. You know, he's a year older than Wolf is. His ball security, hanging on to the football, 2 hands on the ball. He's been around just a little bit more than his counterpart has. This is inside here. This is where I want to use this guy.
That was the 45th carry for the Northern Illinois running backs in this game. And here's A.J. Harris again. Right side, cuts it back inside. Nice job of looking at his blocking and deciding where the opening was going to be. Scooted upfield to the 31-yard line. Kudu making the tackle.
You know, a lot of times you think that when a tailback gets the football, he's got a point of attack. Hey, you got to choke your motor down sometime.
Let's go downstairs. Here's Brad Hoy. Brad?
Well, why is Northern Illinois doing so well here in the second half? Simple story. Turnovers. That's what the Huskies have been lacking in recent weeks. The defense is stepping up. 4 interceptions, 1 fumble recovery, 5 turnovers. That gives the offense a chance to get onto the field, and they're taking full advantage of it, churning up not only yards, but eating up the clock.
Well, it's such a simple story at every level of football. If you turn the football over, you make it so much harder on yourself to try and come away with a win. Harris gained 2 on that play. It's going to bring up 3rd down and 2 from the 30.
Well, there's Sam Pittman, the offensive line coach. You know, I remember going to a staff meeting one time and some coach saying, hey, the hay's in the barn. Coach Schembecker went about through the roof. He said the hay's never in the barn. And that's what you're seeing here with Sam Pittman and the rest of the Northern Illinois staff. They continue to coach right through the game.
Right. It's in the barn when it says 000 on the clock.
Exactly.
Third down for Northern. A.J. Harris has a first down, and there's a flag down on the play, so hold on a second. Northern now approaching 400 yards of rushing. 360 right now. That play will come back, though, on a hold. Sam doesn't agree with the call necessarily, I don't think.
No, you know, Sam doesn't look like a kind of a guy I want to argue with too much.
You know, so many times this year when I've been down on the sidelines during Northern games, you know, something will go on in the field, and
Repeat, third down.
And I'll hear Sam say to his players, look, guys, this isn't anything we didn't plan for. This is what we talked about in the meeting, and he's really pretty calm down there. And you know, because if your guys are prepared, you can't get too excited if one or two things don't go your way early in the game.
Well, you know, Sam, and it reflects on Coach Novak, so above, so below. I mean, Coach Novak's assistants coach the way he does. They're intense. They see the scoreboard, 34-13. They want perfection.
Third down and 10. Screened out, A.J. Harris. He's going to have to get this on his own, and he'll get back to the 35-yard line before he's taken down. Kevon Barbee coming in and making the tackle. So it's going to be fourth down and about 7. So a field goal from here would be 52 yards with a kicker who's a little bit injured. So this is a pretty good spot to go for.
You know, Jim, you talk about Coach Pittman and offensive line coaches. I believe that one time when you put a staff together, the first thing you do is get the best defensive coordinator you can find. I don't believe that anymore. If I were a new head football coach someplace, I would scour the country to find the best offensive line coach that I could possibly find, and he'd be my first hire.
You get a good look at Dan Sheldon. If Northern Illinois does indeed go for this, and they'll call a timeout here first. If they do go for it, might it be a time to go to Dan Sheldon? 10-11 remaining in the fourth. Northern leading by 3 touchdowns. They're trying to put this thing away against Eastern Michigan. On getting back into this game, they need a stop here on fourth down and 7 from their 35-yard line. With their offense, they could get 3 touchdowns in 10-14 without much of a problem, but they have to have the football back before they can make anything happen.
You know, coaching is one thing, talent's another thing. I'd be remiss not to mention Mike Sabak. 21 years at Northern Illinois University. He coaches the outside linebackers, and he is the recruiting coordinator. Nice job, Mike, of bringing some fine players to DeKalb and to the Huskies.
Sheldon in the slot to the right. Haldi looking his way. He's not going to get a chance to deliver the football. Matt Lisek with the tackle. Eastern Michigan gets the ball back, and I'm not saying it's likely, but Eastern Michigan has given themselves a chance.
Great push up front there by Eastern Michigan. I mean, these offensive linemen from Northern Illinois, they've stayed in there stout the whole time. You know, there's some sacks that are on coverage, and there are some sacks that are on rush. You know, Haldi right there should have hung in there just a little bit longer. That pocket was starting to develop around him.
Yeah, because there's a place where if you force it and throw a pick downfield, that's not necessarily a bad thing. So now Eastern Michigan, they absolutely have to score on this drive. Bonet back to pass, and that was knocked down. Knocked down at the line of scrimmage, and that's exactly what you teach guys along the line like Adam Schroeder to do. If you can't get to the quarterback, you get your arms up in the air, and you get up in the air as he goes ready to throw it.
Well, that's a timing thing. You know, you start to get a little push. You know, some guys know when to get their hands up, and other guys don't. It's almost instinctive. It's difficult. You know, you can't always teach that. That right there was instinct. He got as far as he could, got his hands up, and batted the ball down.
Second down and 10. The 5 wides in the game for Eastern Michigan. Bonet sees a little pressure. He was calm. He throws it out. This will be a first down for Eastern Michigan, and across the 45-yard line into Northern Illinois territory on the completion to Tremaine Riley.
You know, Tremaine Riley was probably about the third person in Bonet's progression because the guys downfield were very well covered, and that gives Bonet a lot of credit. He looks. Now is, as I said, almost a safety valve type situation of that crossing receiver finding the dead spot in the zone.
Ball spotted on the Northern Illinois 43-yard line. Long time for Bonet to get the ball snapped to him. Again, steps up, clears the football. Delorier, middle of the field, tries to stay on his feet. but has his foot go out from under him. It is a gain of about 4 yards in the play, bringing up 2nd down and 6.
There'll come a point in time right now, Eastern Michigan, Jeff Janik, Matt Bonet, where you're going to have to start throwing the ball downfield and taking chances. These little under routes depend upon yards after catch, and that's all fine and dandy. But there's 9 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock, and the score is 34-13. And you have to start taking chances, Jim.
Right, especially considering the fact that you know when Northern Illinois gets the football back, they can run it and ground it out. So you've got to move pretty quickly here. 2nd down and 6. Press coverage on the outside corners for Northern Illinois. Bonet into pass again. Delorier curls in, has the football at the 33-yard line. He will have a 1st down.
Delorier gets Bonet's pass.
One of the things you want to talk to linebackers about when they get into their drops, keep your shoulders square. The worst thing that can happen to a linebacker is when his shoulders get perpendicular to the line of scrimmage, because then if the ball is thrown behind him, he has to make an adjustment. But if his shoulders are square, he gives himself not only a 2-way go, a 3-way go, a 4-way go.
Clock ticks under 9 minutes. Eastern Michigan trying to cut into a 21-point Northern lead. Double slots, that's Sherrill in the backfield. He'll go out as well. Screened out to Sherrill, has the ball at the 30, takes it across the 20-yard line. He will have another Eastern Michigan 1st down. Let's go down to Brad Hoy. Brad?
Well, conspicuous by their presence here in Ysiplanti are these guys clad in red. We got Jeff, Mike, Jeff, Tom, Mike, and Chris. Bowling Green fans, they're cheering for the Eagles, obviously. And what made you guys come to this game?
Pretty much we just want to support our fellow MAC teams against NIU and pretty much give Bowling Green the best chance we could to win the MAC championship.
You know, obviously Bowling Green, big Eastern fans because the Huskies were victors over Bowling Green in that MAC opener. Now, I'll tell you one thing, you guys might be fans of Eastern today, but if the Huskies win this game, they're going to be, our Husky fans are going to be big fans of you guys coming up on Tuesday.
Yeah, pretty much, but even no matter really if NIU wins the game, they pretty much win the MAC West already unless we beat Toledo, and they still win the head-to-head, so, you know, we don't know yet.
How confident are Bowling Green fans in that game against Toledo? You guys have had a tough time there at against the Rockets there at the Glass Bowl.
Toledo doesn't have a chance. We have a hell of a running game. We have Pope running for us. He's going to run all over their defense. It's going to be no contest.
That's right. That's right.
BG all the way, baby.
That's right.
All right, some Bowling Green fans cheering for the Eagles. Back to you guys.
All right, and Sherrill takes it down inside the 5-yard line to the 3. And you know what? You will never get that kind of a quote about an upcoming opponent or upcoming game out of a player or a coach. But you know what? That's what you want to hear. You know what? You got to have some confidence.
I give these guys a lot of credit. I like their support of the Mid-American Conference. Again, I can't say it enough. What a great conference. Seriously.
2nd down and goal. Sherrill gets the carry. He'll maybe get a yard down to the 3-yard line, because basically the story is this. If Northern Illinois wins this game, Bowling Green, they do not have a chance of getting to the MAC title game.
You talk about the MAC conference in general. When I first came to Northern Illinois as a coach, we were in the Mid-American Conference. They voted, or whoever voted, to take them out of the Mid-American, not the conference, the school, and go as an independent. That was wrong. Northern should have stayed in the Mid-American Conference the entire time. This is where they belong.
And now Bonet steps into the shotgun on 3rd down and goal from the 3. But maybe the most important thing for Northern Illinois, clock under 7 minutes now. Bonet fakes the handoff to Sherrill, throws it back into the end zone, and that's tipped and picked off. Picked off at the goal line. 5th interception of the game for Northern. Brad Benson coming up with a pick.
Big play. I mean, Benson comes up big. When you run to the football as a football player, if you run to the ball, something good's going to happen. You might not be the guy to get the interception, but you may not be the guy to tip it, but bam, there it is. He continues to run to the ball. Good job. One great defensive play right there.
It is not often when a lineman gets a chance to pick one off, but that's exactly the case for Benson, and let's give him credit for having some pretty good hands, too.
Well, because he was running to the ball, he turned and ran to the ball. Defensive line coaches teach this every day. Guys go, why are we doing this? This is why we're doing it.
Josh Haldi rolling out, and he'll just keep it, step out of bounds, stay alive for another play. Now, okay, be a coach for me now.
Okay, I will.
We're going to look at this interception returned by Brad Benson one more time.
All right.
What is the one thing you would tell the young man for the next time he gets to carry the football?
Well, I mean, we're not going to do like running back drills.
Come on.
Let's see. Here we go.
If he ever gets a chance to carry the football, move move the ball the other arm, son.
Oh, the faraway arm, the faraway arm. Well, you know, the running back coach from Northern, you got to get with those defensive linemen and say, hey, look, if you get one of those, this is the way you have to carry the ball.
The fact of the matter is he gets another chance to carry the ball. The coaches will be ecstatic. You love when the linemen make picks. That's Garrett Wolf running it again on second down.
That shows great defensive line coaching. I'm serious. What you do, defensive linemen, you put wide receivers out. No offensive lineman, nothing. You set your defense. You throw the ball downfield. You make them do an up, down, now turn around and run to the football. And these guys might do this 1,000 times and say, why are we doing this? That's the reason you do it right there. That's coaching. That's a great defensive coaching job.
Josh Haldi down there now saying, all right, boys, let's keep these chains moving. Let's keep this thing going.
Defensive line coach from Northern Illinois, Laverne Bullitt. Nice job. Hats off to him. You have to coach that kind of thing.
And Josh Haldi will call timeout. 5:53 remaining in the fourth quarter. Northern Illinois and Joe Novak looking like they're still alive for a shot at the MAC title. Done by most of the Northern Illinois Huskies. Just 5:53 to burn off the clock and then wait and see what happens on Tuesday night. 3rd down and 6. Pitch to Garrett Wolf. They get it to their best player to let him go one-on-one. This could go all the way if he makes one more break of a tackle. He had one guy to beat, and that one guy was the one who made the play, Jerry Gaines. But a first down for Northern. They'll move the chains, reset the clock, and keep it rolling.
You know, you talk about Garrett Wolf. He's a great talent. A.J. Harris is great talent. I'd be remiss not to mention DeAndre Smith, the running back coach for Northern Illinois. This guy does a great job with these guys, with ball security, with blocking, and everything else.
This was a 13-13 game with 3 seconds remaining in the first half. Northern called a timeout, got a Hail Mary touchdown. They put up 3 touchdowns in a little more than 3 minutes, and now they're just trying to put it away as Wolf is met immediately after getting the handoff. Kudu, who has had a number of fine plays today, makes the tackle.
Yes, a young guy who's got his motor going all the time.
Garrett Wolf with 300 yards today, the 4th 300-yard rushing game in NIU history. And, well, you know what? He might catch LaShawn if they can grind out a couple more first downs. Let's see if they put in A.J. Harris for a breather. So right now, he needs 24 yards, 24 for the tie, 25 for the record. 2nd down and 11. Garrett Wolf in the backfield, has to pick his way through some tacklers and maybe got one back to the 30. That'll bring up 3rd down and 10.
You know, I had mentioned earlier Brad Cieslak and young Mr. Nordine. These 2 tight ends, just having coached tight ends and watching tight end play, these 2 guys are as complete a tight ends as I've seen. They run routes so well, they block so well, they adjust to the football well, and, you know, Greg Bauer, that tight end coach over there, I mean, this whole Northern Illinois staff does a great job, and I've had a chance to be around these guys a little bit, and these are the kind of guys that if I was a high school football player or a high school coach, I'd say, hey, if I got a guy and I'm sending him to Northern Illinois, he's going to be well coached, and I'll tell you something else. Joe Novak is a man of high character and high discipline. You know, he went 1-10 and 0-11, but he stuck to the things that he believed in.
That says it all. When you can run it for almost 400 yards, you're usually going to be ahead, and that's exactly the case for Joe Novak in Northern Illinois, and it has just been an impressive performance of winning along the line of scrimmage here in the second half, and that's exactly what it was. This game was ebbing and flowing, and the momentum was going back and forth in the first half, and the Northern Illinois offensive line, along with the defense coming up with some turnovers, that is what has turned it around.
You mentioned coaching through the whole game. Dirk Van Dornbos. I mean, there he is right there. The score is 34-13. Where you say, well, you know, the chances of Eastern Michigan catching us in this game, come on, let's be really serious about this. But you know what? That's money in the bank right there, because that's something that young man will use, hopefully, in another couple games this year.
Because, as I thoroughly believe, you can never, as hard as you try, recreate game conditions in practice. So these are all important reps, especially if you're going to be playing 2 more games the rest of the way. Garrett Wolf puts on a move, trying to get to the outside across the 30. He's dragged out of bounds to the 33. The flag goes up for a late hit. Northern Illinois will get a first down.
Some frustration here by Eastern Michigan. somewhat is a little bit of a counterplay because the quarterback turns one way, starts to go in one direction, pitches the ball back to Wolf. That defender right there, you've got to pull up in that situation. You want
Dead ball, personal foul, late hit out of bounds. Defense, number 45, 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic, first down.
You know, you talked about recruiting. I talked to high school coaches in Chicago, and again, this Northern Illinois staff going into Chicago, their primary recruiting area, they have a true presence there. They've established a presence because they've decided what their philosophy would be from a recruiting standpoint, and again, they've stuck to it. You know, I mentioned Clarence Vaughn from Gage Park High School, who I had a chance to coach. Right after that, recruited 2 other linebackers from Chicago area, Dan Schmida and Tommy Klein, guys like that. One guy from Gordon Tech, another guy from Lake Park, and Klein and Schmida from St. Patrick High School. And those guys start to attract other guys. Right. Because, you know, they're down in the neighborhood and say, hey, you know, this is pretty nice. 60 miles away, 27,000 people, in excess of 27,000 people at a game. Chance to play major college football in the area that we grew up in. Not bad.
Keep up with your favorite NIU athletes every week by watching Inside Husky Sports, Thursdays at 5 right here on Comcast Sportsnet, hosted by Brad Hoy. Review this week's game and get the inside scoop on NIU football and basketball. Inside Husky Sports, only on Comcast Sportsnet. And this Thursday's edition, 5 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day. Be about snack time after the big meal for me. First down and 15 from the 44. Garrett Wolf up the middle, and that is going to be a gain of about 4 out to the 48-yard line, so it's going to be second down and 11. And it's getting to be a very tiring afternoon for Greg Ebaugh and the rest of the Eastern Michigan Eagles.
Well, especially for the big guys up front, that's a grind. When you're on the field as long as they've been out there, they'll know that they've been in a football game.
Now, I have Garrett Wolf needing 16 more yards for the biggest single day of rushing for Northern Illinois. Gets the handoff again, and he gets turned back right at the line of scrimmage, so it's going to be third down and 11 for Northern Illinois.
I say right now you keep the ball on the ground, maybe a little counter play to Wolf. Try to perhaps get him out on the perimeter. You know, once Northern Illinois went back to their identity, I think the game was hands down. You know, they came out a little bit trying to throw the football, maybe a little bit of, you know, try to get Eastern off balance, loosen them up, and then maybe run the ball. But, you know, you come out and do what you do best.
Like roll down the hill and get dizzy. Little pitch play. Haldi decides to keep it. He's over the 45, over the 40. He'll hop out of bounds. He will have a first down that will come pretty close to allowing Northern Illinois just to run the clock out.
You know, a little bit of option football there by Haldi. Haldi's a big guy. He's quick. He's athletic. I like this. I don't think there's a college football team in the country that shouldn't have some type of, maybe just a little bit of an option, maybe 2 or 3 plays, especially in the red zone or when you want to hang on to the football. I mean, they hadn't showed that all day. I hadn't seen that in the games that I did before for Northern Illinois. I like it. I like having that little package because you know what? The next team they play has to prepare for an option right now.
And I think Garrett Wolf's going to need a big run to get the single game mark because there's not going to be that many more offensive plays in this, as Northern Illinois is just going to just pretty much keep it on the ground and let the clock run. That's a gain of 3 for Wolf.
Now, if you're a defensive coach and you're preparing for Northern Illinois, you're watching all this game film, you're look at this, they run off tackle, they got a 1 back, all the defensive coaches are in there making notes, and all of a sudden, it's like the world stops. They ran an option play. Five guys jump up and go, oh no, what are we going to do?
That means I got to stay up late again some night this week to figure out what to do for that.
Can't go home Thursday night. Got to stay and prepare for that option.
Danny Sheldon is in the slot to the right. I would be stunned if this ball went into the air, and it does not. Garrett Wolf trying to fight his way into the secondary goes down to the 29-yard line, so that's going to be a gain of 5. The broadcast rights for this event have been granted to Comcast Sportsnet by Northern Illinois University, and reproduction or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Comcast Sportsnet and NIU is strictly prohibited. So thank you. We wouldn't be here without Comcast Sportsnet and Northern. And boy, all of a sudden, it's really getting dark out here. Not that that has anything to do with anything going on. A.J. Harris now into the game, and he just runs straight up the middle on 3rd down. Clock at 1:45 and running. So,
you know, I know Jeff Janik, he obviously could be very disappointed with the outcome of this game. But I do believe, I've talked to him about his plan. I really believe he has a chance to get this thing turned around at Eastern.
Timeout with 1:44 remaining. Joe Novak and the Huskies making their plans to watch Bowling Green and Toledo coming up on Tuesday. 4th down and 2 for Northern Illinois coming up from just inside the Eastern Michigan 30. This play determines whether the Eastern Michigan offense comes back on the field or if we see kneel downs after this play. A.J. Harris is the back for Northern Illinois. Josh Haldi, he'll roll, he'll keep it. It's a race. He's going to have to cut it back inside, so he does not get the 1st down. Eastern Michigan will take over at their own 32-yard line.
Good safe play. Good safe play. Not a bad call. A lot of people might not like that call. That's a good safe play. Josh Haldi's a big, strong guy, protects the football well, knows what the situation is. I like it.
So the Huskies are going to peel off the tape, throw the jerseys in the hamper, hop on the bus, go back to DeKalb, and then wait and see what happens on Tuesday night. If Bowling Green beats Toledo, Northern Illinois plays in the MAC title game. If Toledo wins, then Northern has to find out, well, what will be our bowl bid? And I say that with some confidence, figuring that with 3 bowl bids going to the MAC now, that Northern should get one of them. And for Northern Illinois, the key thing on that play is they keep everything in bounds. And a chance for some guys from Eastern Michigan to get some reps. That was Alonzo Harris, senior wide receiver, making the catch.
You know, one of the things, Jim Phillips came from Notre Dame. I had a chance to work for Jim over there. I cannot believe his enthusiasm and the way he's embraced the culture in DeKalb and Northern Illinois. He's going to be a great AD for Northern Illinois.
Jeff Crooks, the backup quarterback, into the game as well. And that's Nelson Drew getting a chance to get a carry, and he'll take it out near midfield as once the clock starts after they reset the chains, will be under a minute to go. So Northern Illinois, remember, they came in here with just a 2-5 record after losses to Toledo. Well, they came in here today, and it took them a while to establish what they wanted to do, but once they established that, they were able to run the football and run it a lot, run it effectively, and there was really nothing Eastern Michigan could do to stop it.
I described them in a word today as they've had great resolve. They know what's in the balance.
Laying out to make the catch down the sideline is Chris Talley, down to the 25-yard line. So Jeff Crooks getting a chance to throw, and he makes a great toss out to Talley. 37 seconds left.
Great throw and a great catch. He put the football right on the numbers here. This young guy lays out for the football, does a good job of getting his elbows down and the ball up, keeps possession.
So Eastern Michigan trying to pop it into the end zone one more time. Crooks rolls out to his right, throws it to the goal line, and that will fall incomplete. Maybe Northern another chance to get a pick, too. Boy, if you're a defensive back, you have to like this. You know the ball's going in the air. If you're a lineman, you don't have to worry about playing the run.
These linemen are looking at the clock. They're going 24 seconds. I mean, you're out there, you're 300 and some pounds rushing the passer all day. Those 24 seconds will seem like a half an hour.
3 wide receivers out to the left for Eastern Michigan. Crooks will roll out to his left and throws it up the sideline and just basically had to throw it away because Chris Talley got hung up trying to go down the sideline, couldn't get to where he was supposed to be, and Lionel Hickenbottom was waiting back there to blast anybody who might catch it up the sideline.
You know, you don't want to be in a situation to have to play some young guys because of your lopsided scoring when you're on the downside of the score. But when you get these guys in there, I mean, these are all things that prepare you for the future. Right. As you said earlier, you can't demonstrate these things in practice, albeit as hard as you may try. And from a morale standpoint for a young guy or even an older guy who doesn't get a chance to play, it's very important.
Crooks back to throw, 17 seconds remaining, has all sorts of time. Time starts to run out, he just dumps it out of bounds. Well, if you look at Eastern Michigan right now, the spot they're in, they're in a spot very similar to where Joe Novak was a few years ago, in that now, when you go to recruit, you've established your identity of what you're going to do. And that's the first hurdle you have to cross recruiting players. All right, if I am a lineman who is proficient at run blocking and want to get a lot of reps in doing that, boy, Northern Illinois is the place I want to go. If I'm a running back, I want to look at Northern Illinois. If I'm a smart quarterback who knows how to deliver the ball on time, Northern Illinois is a good spot because that's the kind of offense they run. You know what you're getting into. Crooks with 10 seconds remaining. Has a lot of room up the middle of the field, and that's kind of a dangerous one if you're a quarterback because you've got all sorts of guys who are just looking to take a shot. That's a first down, so the clock will stop with 5 seconds remaining. And a nice move here by Eastern Michigan's coaching staff. They get all the guys that are the normal starters back into the game. They call a timeout to get them onto the field. We'll take a quick timeout. Northern Illinois, 5 ticks away from maybe getting a chance at playing for a MAC title. Has been brought to you by U.S. Cellular. We connect with you. By Culver's Frozen Custard and Butter Burgers, America's favorites made fresh. By Casey's General Store, the official convenience store of NIU Athletics. Casey's, a convenience store, and a whole lot more. By the Village Commons Bookstore. For all your Husky clothing and souvenirs, visit vcbs.com. By Applebee's. Try Applebee's Carside to Go. You call it in, we bring it out. By Blaine's Farm and Fleet, the hardest working people in America. Find value at Farm and Fleet. By Jewel, helping make your life easier. By TCF Bank, open 7 days. And by the Comfort Inn and Suites of Rochelle, a great place to stay before or after Husky football games where you will sleep in comfort. Eastern Michigan lining up for a field goal with 5 seconds remaining in a 21-point game. You may be asking why. Well, I thought I had an answer until I realized that Wellick is not out there to attempt the extra point, but this may be a chance just to get some points on the board. And the kick is up, and it is good. So Brian Clavin, who hasn't gotten much of a chance to kick this year because of Andrew Wellock being the primary guy, gets to come in, gets to score some points. So I think that was a case of Jeff Jenick giving a kid a chance to score some points. So that is the reason why. Well, I was going to give the explanation that if it was Wellock, he leads the nation in field goals per game, and that would have given him his third. But the other kicker come in and get some points, so I don't fault Jenick for giving. I'm all for giving kids a chance to succeed and do something, so I have no problem with that. Final score, Northern Illinois 34, Eastern Michigan 16. Northern Illinois still with only 1 loss in the MAC, so they will finish no worse than a tie for the MAC West. Question is, will they get a chance to play for the MAC title? And now it appears to be a question of where will their bowl game invitation come from, because it certainly looks like Northern is going to get a chance to go bowling.
I can only hope so. Northern Illinois deserved to go to a bowl game last year. They deserve to go to a bowl game this year. Look how important this is to Joe Novak. He's walking off the field carrying the game ball. And in all honesty, I've known Joe Novak for 25 years. I couldn't be happier for him.
And Jim Phillips next to him, and Jim Phillips may be the biggest Joe Novak fan in the world. And just if you look back to where this program was when Joe Novak came in and where he has brought it to, it's just simply amazing. I can remember way back in the day doing an interview with Joe Novak after he took this job and thinking, why in the world would you take this one? Well, he knew something everybody else didn't. Let's go downstairs to Brad Hoy. Brad?
Well, I'm here with the man of the hour. I said he was the man of the hour at the top of the show, and he certainly came through with it here today. A record-setting performance, 325 yards rushing. That's a new NIU record. Congratulations, Garrett.
Thank you very much. I think the 325 yards is most definitely a testament to my teammates. And I'd like to thank my teammates for sticking through me, you know, with the incident that happened last week. My teammates, their favor in me never wavered, and they always stuck behind me, and this 325 yards is definitely a testament to those guys.
How anxious were you to make amends for that little snafu there?
I was most definitely very anxious because, I mean, it was the biggest game of my life, and I couldn't participate in it. But, I mean, everything happens for a reason. I'm just happy to be alive and happy to be playing football right now.
Okay, Garrett, congratulations, and maybe you got a couple more games left.
Most definitely.
Okay, Garrett Wolf of the victorious NIU Huskies. Back up to you guys.
All right, Brad, thank you very much. Final score, Northern Illinois 34, Eastern Michigan 16. Thanks for joining us from Ypsilanti. Northern has to wait to see where they go.
Listen up, lug nuts. Pop quiz time. What happens to an engine with too much friction? I'll tell you.